Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Was Betrayed by Everyone and Became the God of All Gods Part 2. Before we start, please go support MaximAngel for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Chapter 13, Children and Farewell. A month has passed after taking care of the children. The younger ones called him father and son, and the older ones, 8, said it sometimes, but they don't trust him completely, and he acted as father and mother. And why didn't Veronica or Damaris help? Well, they needed to recover their power. When he used them, they barely had 2% of their power, and now they were sleeping. Of course, they told him that if he got a partner, they would first see her and see if she was worthy. Everything happened, and today Issei would help them survive, and they went outside the camp they set up and went far looking for animals, and Issei teaching them how to use bows or swords. That was the beginning. He would teach them to use their power of the god that they were son or daughter. He would help them, and the children who did not have a family, he would give them even a little of his power to help. They hunted happily until several women surrounded them and launched arrows. Issei protected them with a barrier. Issei, puppies come. Issei put his children behind him like a dragon raising its young, and the hunters looked at him with some fear because the power he began to give off was very strong until the leader appeared. Artemisa, what are you doing here in our territories? Issei, Artemis, well, I was teaching my puppies to hunt, and from what I know the world is a free place, and I want to see your contract that says you bought it. Artemis, insolent. Artemis shot an arrow with the power of the moon, but what surprised them most was seeing Issei grab the arrow with one hand, and his children had stars in their eyes. Hector, son of Apollo, Dad, can we be as strong as you? Issei, yes, if they try hard they will surpass me. The kids started cheering, saying that they would kick the gods' butts among others. Issei, getting back to the topic, Miss Artemis, goddess of the house, and Luna, I suggest you do not attack my puppies, understood? Issei began to release great power that scared Artemis. Artemis, yes. Issei, that's great, and you want to join us to eat. We hunted a lot today, right kids? Children, yes. Zoe, it's not necessary. The bellies of all the hunters, including Artemis, rumbled, making them all blush with shame. Issei, follow us. Issei walked and led the hunters to a camp with many cabins, and the children set the table, while Issei cooked. While they were eating, they decided to talk. Artemis, you are a god. Issei, I don't know if I should be called that, therefore I am human. Artemis, a human cannot stop an arrow with divine power. Issei, you never know if you don't try, right? Artemis, but. Issei, there are no buts. The only thing you should know is that you should never think of my daughters as future hunters unless you want to, and 2, don't you dare touch my children even a hair, okay? In the last sentence, Issei released a thirst for blood much greater than that of beasts, making them breathe little. Artemis, okay. Time skip. About 4 months passed since they met, and Issei and Artemis did not get along at first, but then they realized that they were very similar. Issei fell in love and she fell in love with him, but a guy Orion came who was a better match for the hunters than him, and several other things. Issei always warned them that he was not to be trusted, but they, in their eagerness to believe it was jealousy, ignored him until they left Issei aside. He confronted them saying that he was dangerous, but they ignored him, rather they insulted him. It hurt him more that Zoe, an immortal human, and Artemis insulted him. He left with his children and changed homes. After Orion left, he continued to pretend until he was sure that Issei, the bastard, would not come. The drugs could not move. Artemis, why are you doing this, Orion? Orion, simple stupid goddess, you are very gullible, and you will see I simply want your body, ha ha ha, and what better to see you desperate while you see how I grape your daughters, and you can't do anything. Orion was about to take off his pants when 2 hunters tried to cut him, but he killed them all under a horrified look from Artemis, who was crying. She was about to grape Zoe, but a very furious Issei hit him. Orion, I damn thought you would leave. Issei, yes, even if they treat me badly, I must protect someone in need. Orion, I will kill you and grape these hitches. Issei, how sad for your mother to raise such an ungrateful son. Orion, damn it! Orion began to attack him with blows, but Issei always dodged them until he got bored and began to hit him brutally, and he was left on the floor begging for mercy. Issei, death is very good for you, Pinwheel. A strange man appeared that scared everyone, but he told a furious Issei to send him to the fourth circle of the Infernox, the one of lust, so that he would suffer. Issei healed everyone present, and they began to ask for forgiveness and more Artemis. Issei, I forgive them. Artemis on impulse tried to kiss Issei, but he dodged her. Artemis, I thought you loved me. Issei, yes, and I did, but what happened when I told you? If you don't remember, I'll tell you. You rejected me, and not happy, you humiliated me, and I left. I only came because I hate people who take advantage of others. If I forgave them, it's because I don't want to hold a grudge, but I break my ties with you. Goodbye, goddess of the hunt. Issei disappeared while the hunters cried, but more so Zoe and Artemis for losing the only man who was worthy of them. Place? Issei, kids, I'm back. Children, Dad? Issei, okay kids, the matter is over. Hector, and Dad, the young ladies' hunters are fine. Issei, yes, I already helped them, but they won't be their mommies. Hector, okay Daddy. The children were not stupid, they knew what happened. Issei, but they will meet their two mommies who are already recovering. Kids, huh? Out of nowhere, two silhouettes of women appeared. They were Veronica and Damaris. Hector, they will be our mommies. Issei, yes, present of. The girls introduced themselves and showed them their names and everything. In time passed where Issei took care of the demigods with his wives and avoided Artemis and Zoe because they practically became Yanderas, but Issei, like any man, did not hurt them, and they decided to change from place to place, although it was sad to see their children die. Issei helped several people on his way, and his children created orphanages and had their family, but when they were about to die they always returned to where their father, and he gave them a holy burial in a dimension, and his children visited them, and as time passed he helped several heroes like Hercules, one of his many children that he raised. Until the planet was dying from pollution, and he decided to fix it by meeting his new partner Gaia. Flashback. Naruto saw the world sadly. As he died, he began to meditate in the middle of a sea, and in his body he stored a lot of black pollen that came out of the earth. Several spirits that died or goddesses who began to get sick like Demeter Dahlia black pollen from their bodies, leaving it as new, and several went to their locations, seeing how all the corruption stored it. A subject whose skin darkened and began to bleed. Everyone worried about their savior when all the corruption was in his body, all black and bleeding from the pain, because he was not the only one. He had collected all the evil from all dimensions, giving him hellish pain, and little by little he began to take out the pollen only. That instead of black it was yellow, and it joined nature, repairing everything and leaving the planet as new, and several spirits began to fall asleep at his side, but the one who was the happiest was Artemis, that saw how her Issei helped everyone. When it finally finished he began to vomit blood, and being helped by all the goddesses who came to see what was happening, they saw that his state was very bad. He practically cleaned the planet and the sea, also helping Poseidon, who saw him through the water. After half an hour Issei woke up and saw himself surrounded by many women. He got nervous but delicately got up and began to leave. When he was halfway there he saw a beautiful woman. She introduced herself as Gaia and thanked him for saving her. As she was writhing in pain from the corruption, he said it was normal, that he would help. After that they met and went on dates, and she met his wives. She was saddened by the permission, but then they told her that Issei had to have a harem even if he didn't want it, because he attracted several women. She happily accepted and they became couples. She admitted that he was a beast in bed, and some time passed. Issei met several goddesses and many fell in love with him, and he did too, but he still wasn't totally sure. Current time 1991 BC. Issei was thinking what to do to protect the demigods who were practically his children, until he saw a malnourished child in an alley. He approached him, but the child walked away. Issei, hello, my name is Issei. What is your name? Percy. My name is Percy, sir. Issei, what are you doing here? Your family must be worried. Percy, my dad left me when I was born, and my mom left me, saying that I attract monsters. Issei became enraged by those people, and even more so with Poseidon for not taking care of his children, and decided to do something about it. Issei, then come with me, I'll take care of you. Percy cried and hugged him. Issei comforted him and took him to the camp and took good care of him, and that same day a satyr and 2 demigoddesses Annabeth and Talia came. He helped them get in when Talia was about to die, and saved her, and killed all the monsters. Annabeth, who are you, sir? Issei, the creator of the camp, and I see that you didn't have a good time, right? The girls remained silent, and he thought that they had abandoned them and were chasing monsters. Issei, okay, from now on I will be your father, okay? Talia, really, sir? Issei, of course, I always take care of all the demigods who come, so trust me. After that, some time passed until they were 12 years old, and they got along well with all the demigods. They were a big family, and he hired several people to take care of the children when he was not there. Until something happened that tore the souls of the demigods apart. There was a great attack. Millions of monsters were in front of all the demigods, who were scared, and more the small ones except Issei, who would defeat them easily, but he knew he had to let them grow from now on. Even if it hurts to leave them, he knew they had to grow, and no longer depend on anyone. Issei, puppies! Ambient music. All the children looked at him, scared of what would happen. Issei, my children, I may go. The children began to cry because they knew what it meant. Issei, children, don't be picky, eat a lot and grow strong, bathe every day and dress warmly. Don't stay up late, you need a lot of sleep. And make friends, you don't need a lot of friends, just a few ones you can really trust. I wasn't good at it, but study hard and practice your techniques. Remember that everyone has strengths and weaknesses. So don't get discouraged if you don't do something right. Respect your teachers, and those in your upperclassmen at school. Oh, and this is also important. It's about the 3 prohibitions for a demigod. Be careful when lending and asking for money. Save what you earn on missions or what they'll give you if I left you a lot of money, lol. Don't drink alcohol until you're 20. Drinking too much will ruin your health, so drink in moderation. Another prohibition is women. All you need to know is that the world is made for men and women. So it's natural to be interested in girls or boys. But don't fall in love with a bad woman or a bad man. Look for someone just like me or just like their mothers. Children, from now on, you will go through a lot of pain and problems. Trust in yourself and your siblings. Have a dream and have the confidence to make that dream come true. There are so many. Oh, so many things I would like to spend with you. I wish I could stay for much longer. I love you all, and never forget I will always be here, pointing to her heart. Those words that came out of their father's mouth made them cry even more. They watched attentively as the only person who cared for them, who loved them unconditionally, was leaving the world for them. They tried to follow him, but a barrier did not allow them. They saw how their father unsheathed 2 swords, a katana and a large one. They already knew who their mothers were. A fight to the death occurred there. Thousands of corpses were seen disappearing, and a sword-wielding Issei looked at his children with a smile. His children watched him with tears, wishing it was a dream. They saw how little by little it turned into gold dust, and he took out his swords until he no longer had any. Issei, it was a very good life with you, my children. Without you, everything would have been very boring, and remember, I will always be here, points to the heart, and give a big hug to your old puppies. His crying children hugged him, while they shouted at him. Percy, you said you'd stay until we didn't need you. Annabeth, you said you'd watch us grow up, have our first boyfriend, and walk me down the aisle. Talia, Dad, please don't leave me. Luke, dude, you said you'd see me graduate and be someone very famous. Clarice, Dad, don't leave me. You promised that you would see me be the strongest of all the cabins. Did you lie to me? That and many complaints from his other children. Issei, Gomen, it seems that I will not keep some of your promises, but you will never suffer from monsters again. Issei began to disappear into pieces of light as a very beautiful tree formed where he was, and a dome filled with his power appeared. Issei was in white, and his physical body became the tree. Issei, children, I hope you forgive me and always protect the innocent. This tree represents my love for you. You will never suffer again as long as this tree is standing. This stone will protect you. And Chiron will give you some of my gifts. Come, please, old friend. I have little time left. A tearful Chiron began to walk away with several things in his hand for his friend. Issei, for me, Princess of Lightning, you told me that you like Star Wars. I'll leave you this hollow sword. If you fuse your power into it, you'll be able to do something great. Talia, crying thanks Dad. Issei, for me another Princess Annabeth, I know you like to attack from close range. Have this dagger that as soon as it touches the enemy he will die. Be very careful, his poison would kill anyone, even gods. Annabeth, crying thanks Dad, I will always take care of her. Issei, my warrior daughter, for you this spear that you can send out your fire power, and if you continue to evolve it you will have a very cool armor. That would be the spear and that would be the armor that was more of a woman. Clarissei, thanks Dad, I will make you proud. Issei, and my water prince, this sword will help with your water affinity. Percy, crying thanks Dad, will always take care of her. Issei, and now Luke, my dear son, I know you like double-edged swords, that's why I made you this. Luke, thanks Dad, I will always make you proud to carry this sword. Issei, come Grobert son, I will give you the shield because not everything is attack. I know that you must defend your brothers with all your being, and you will be able to improve, you will know how. Grober, thanks Dad, and I'll take care of them. Issei, I know son, I know. Issei gave swords or weapons depending on what his children used the most, and it was slowly disappearing until it was transparent. Issei, my time has come children, I hope you know how to do good and do not save. Recon is never good and the weapons that I gave you are good. Slayers can kill gods. I will always be in your heart, and remember when someone dies they do not really die, they stay in the heart and mind of that person. He dies when everyone forgets him. He began to disappear with a smile, while his children cried and the sky itself began to cry for the loss of a being that many of his children would give their lives for as he did. Percy, let's go inside. I think it's best to calm down. The children went to their cabins, each one to cry. They all cried. No child stopped crying for a week until Chiron helped them by convincing them that their father wanted to see them strong and more, that lifted their spirits, and they trained much more to honor their father who surely watched them. In another place with a TV he watched his children. Damaris, it's good what you did. Issei, yes, it was for the best. Dark days are coming for them and they must fend for themselves. I will always take care of them. Veronica, I hope you know what you're doing. Issei, yes I do. Gaia, and tell me what we will do this time alone. The three women looked at Issei with unholy eyes. Issei, nervous while I was thinking of watching my children, they don't think the same. The three of them denied and rushed at him. Chapter 14, The Lightning Thief. 2016 AD. I don't remember when the movie took place, so we'll say this date, and Percy is 16. All the campers got over Issei's death, but they always visited his grave in the tree and left a tombstone in his honor. Stone. Issei D. Noblesse. Beloved father and husband gave his life for his children, and despite dying he continued to take care of them. His children, when they had problems, always went to that place and heard his voice. They talked to each other and found the answer. His father continued to take care of them and always protected them. Apart from the fact that they managed to advance in their weapons being very powerful and Grover was not far behind, his defense was so good that Percy, Annabeth, Talia and Luke together could not do it alone with the help of Bianca D. Noblesse. And why that last name? Well, all the campers used their last name, and if you asked them at school they said that their father was from an orphanage and before he died he left them money and adopted them, and it was almost true when Chiron told them the money he left them, their eyes almost popped out. And why? Well, the money he left them was $1,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 for each one. That surprised them even more. They remember it. Flashback. Percy, Chiron, how will we eat? And you already know that we don't have money. Chiron, you forget what their father left them. The bad thing is that they can't get it all out until they're 18, according to what he told me. In the meantime, I'll give them a little every week, you know. Annabeth, okay, and how much did he leave us? Chiron, okay, let me get my calculator. 100,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000,000, Luke, so much money, we must divide it well. Quirin, I already divided it up. This is up to each one and it is dollars and the companies will stay there because that produces the money that supports all the children I had. All what? Chiron, they thought their father would leave them on the street, and their old man lived for centuries. They think he wouldn't have any money, and signed this. Luke, I'm sure you won't take our money. Chiron, no, of course not. This is so that they have their last name. All what? Chiron, did you think your father would leave you without a family? No, no, and no. He loved you all equally, and your weapons are proof that you are good slayers. No one ever created weapons like that. Apart from that, the only ones who believed themselves capable of that were the weapons of the gods. Not even Hephaestus could build something as good as yours. And tell me, will you sign? Everyone, where will we sign? Chiron, ha ha ha, come here. End flashback. If his eyes popped out, his father was always very humble and left that to them as an inheritance, and they gave him $1,000 a week and they only used $50. They saved it because of what their father told them. They were in charge of taking care of all the new ones who came. The leaders were Percy, Luke and Grover, and to a lesser extent Nico. The men and women were Annabeth, Talia, Clarice and Bianca because they were the ones with the most power. Everything was normal until one day at the bonfire a being appeared. Hades, Percy Jackson, give me back the lightning or else everyone will pay. Nico and Bianca were calm but got angry when he threatened Percy and his brothers. Nico, shut up you damn old man, nobody threatens my family. Hades, son? Nico, never call me that, you idiot. My only father is the one who raised me. And how did you get through the barrier? Hades, your father created this barrier. How stupid to give your life for idiots like these children. But I managed to get in for a short time and listen carefully. Return the lightning, Percy, or everyone will die. Percy, you should watch your words, old man, especially if you're thinking about talking about my father. Hades, that stupid mortal who gave his life for you, what an idiot to give his life for dead weight, he died because he was weak. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. All the demigods had him with their weapons, others with their bows ready to cut his throat. Percy, angry, take it back. Hades, ha ha ha, what will his weapons do to me, and his father died because of? Percy put some force into it, making it bleed despite being fire. Hades, how? Percy, do you think he would leave us defenseless? Look carefully at the weapon that will cut your neck, and if you speak of him again you will die. Now explain to me what happened so that they blame me. Hades, a demigod stole Zeus' lightning bolt, and since only demigods can enter we thought they would be here at the Noblesse camp, and since you are the strongest we thought it was you. Percy, and tell me what they will do. They can't get in through this barrier that my father created. Now tell me what they will do. Hades didn't know what to do and thought of something very clever or stupid. Hades, if you give me the lightning bolt I will give you your father. Hades showed a projection of his father, and he tried to touch it but it vanished. Percy, how do I know you're not lying? Hades, you won't know if you don't try, and the deadline is 7 days. Hades disappeared and left everyone silent. Annabeth, what are we going to do, Percy? Percy, let me think. Luke, it must be a lie, we saw him die, it's impossible. Percy, but he's the god of hell who can bring back the dead. Grover, I think it's very risky. Percy, we'll talk tomorrow. Rest. They all went to their cabins but very thoughtful. Time skip. Percy was about to leave in the early morning until he was stopped by Luke. Percy, you won't stop me. Luke, who said stop you? If there's even a chance that Dad will come back, I'll help you. Luke gave him a shield, without the lightning bolt, some boots and other gadgets like the map. Percy was about to leave but was stopped again by Grover and Annabeth, who looked at them seriously. Percy, I'll leave and if necessary I'll knock them out. Grover, calm down and knowing you will never give up so we will accompany you. Percy, insurance and who will take care of the camp? Annabeth, Luke, Bianca, Talia, Clarice and Nico, we already warned you that it is better to walk because that's why he gave you the things or that you thought he would give it to you, if only. Percy, thanks guys, this is very important. Grover, we know, I would also like to see him again and thank him. Annabeth, you're not the only ones. Everyone at camp misses him. Percy, yes, walking. The three of them first went where the map indicated, and it was Anton's garden. When they arrived they got off and separated. Grover was walking and found several statues until he saw one in particular. Grover, this one looks like my Uncle Fernando, the only one who didn't want to get rid of me. But it can't be. Wow, he has the wart in the same place. But it can't be him, he killed him. Medusa. Grover ran to find the others. With Annabeth. Annabeth was searching through the garden when she came across a lady. She was desperate, and realized that Medusa was here. They ran but the lady was turned into stone. When she was about to turn Annabeth into stone, Grover and Percy arrived. Medusa, the son of Poseidon. Percy, don't mention it, and I know you're doing this out of hatred for Athena. I know what she did to you. Medusa, you don't know anything. Percy, yes, I know, my father told me. Medusa, damn, Poseidon doesn't know anything, he raped me and because of Athena he turned me like this, being one of his most faithful. Percy, I never talked about that damn Poseidon, my father Issei. Noblesse, I think you know him. Medusa, he was the only one who helped me, he supported me until I told him it was okay, if he raised them, how is it? Percy fell silent and began to cry. Percy, he died protecting us. I created the camp. I think you know it, and its famous barrier. Medusa, yes, I know your camp. Percy, the barrier is created from his power with his life. Medusa, how she died. Percy, millions of monsters appeared and attacked to kill us. We thought we would die that day, but he still calmed us down and gave his life at the last moment. In fact, he gave us these weapons to save us. Percy showed them his weapons. Medusa, how old were they? Percy, the oldest, was 12 and the youngest were 8. Medusa, poor things, what are they doing here? Percy, for 2 things, one is this. Medusa, what is that? Percy, a bracelet that will turn you human or SOSO. Medusa, what? Percy, he will give you back your hair and eyes and you can activate the eyes whenever you want. Medusa, why do you give it to me? Percy, my father told me he would give this to you when he saw you, but he gave it to me to give to you. Medusa put it on, and she came back normal, and started crying with joy. Medusa, thank you very much. I lost, you're welcome. Medusa, and the second. Percy, Hades, according to what he told us, he has our father, but we don't know for sure, and that's why we want to go to hell, and to get back from there we need that pearl that you have on your bracelet. Medusa looked at herself, and nodded and gave them to her. Percy, if you want you can go to camp, they will accept you. Medusa, thank you. I don't know how to repay you for everything you've done for me. Percy, just help us at camp. According to father, you are an excellent doctor, and sometimes we get hurt during training. Medusa, okay, and good luck. Grover, okay, here we go, 1 to go, 3 more. Annabeth, where now? Percy looked at the map and saw a location. Percy, Nashville. Grover, good going. They went to Nashville and the map led them to a museum where Annabeth killed some guards. Grover, you're crazy, woman. Annabeth, I don't want to kill them, I'd put them to sleep, father. I don't raise a murderer well, not innocent ones. Percy put on the winged slippers and took out the pearl that was in Athena's crown and took it out and cut her neck in the process. Grover, was it necessary? Annabeth, no, but I liked it. Percy, we're leaving. Grover, yes. At that moment the 5 guards that Annabeth knocked out were in front of them, and the most curious thing is that their eyes were orange. Guards, return the lightning, Percy. Percy, what the hell? The guards turned into a giant hydra. Percy, this brings back memories. Grover, it's true, he would have chosen another beast other than a hydra. Annabeth, yes, you already know what to do. Percy ran and was chased by the hydra while Grover prepared his shield and Annabeth her dagger. Percy ran and tied the hydra's heads into a knot. Percy, Grover, you know what to do. Grover, don't tell me that again, Soul's shield. Grover used the strange shield and began to suck the life out of the hydra, and Annabeth used her dagger and began to cut small cuts on its body, and the hydra began to age, turning into bone. Annabeth, very easy. Percy, yes, it reminds me of when we hunted hydras with Father. Grover, yes, but he gave us these different weapons to kill them, but the function is the same. Annabeth, yeah, it's better to continue now to Percy's. Percy looked at the map again and revealed himself. Percy, Las Vegas. On the way they continued talking quietly. Grover, we're doing great, there are still 4 days left, isn't it great? Percy, yes, but there's one missing, you know. Grover, but we only had 2. Percy, Luke gave me one as an example. Annabeth, great, then let's go. They arrived at a casino called Lotus, and were offered a meal in the shape of a lotus and lost consciousness. Percy, what were we doing? Grover, I think we should have fun. Annabeth, then let's do it and have fun. They had fun, but Percy started listening to his father. Percy winked with a frown. Mind, Percy reacts, you are not like that, remember you are my water prince. Issei began to remember and left the sandwich and began to look until he managed to see the pearl on a table. He took it and began to run, and several guards tried to stop him until he ran into Grover with several women and Annabeth begging. Percy, let's go, Grover, this is a trap. Grover, I don't understand, you and all these girls and I are going to get married. Annabeth, congratulations. Percy, no, this is all a trap, this place is for us to stay, do you understand? Grover, I don't understand you, relax and eat. Percy threw away the food and threw water on it. Grover, what's wrong with you? Percy, Dad talked to me, yes. Grover, who? Percy, Issei, Dad, he died for the camp and we have to save him, do you understand? At that moment they woke up and reacted. Annabeth, how could we be fooled if this is the same place? Percy, what do you mean? Annabeth, here were Nico and Bianca sent by Hades to be a hero of a stupid prophecy. Dad rescued them from here, or forget it. At that moment they remembered everything and began to curse each other. Grover, guys, let's get out of here. They're watching us. Percy, you're right, I already have the pearl, let's go. Percy started running with Grover and Annabeth. They beat up some guards until they saw a car and got in. Grover, keys. Percy, why don't we kill them? Annabeth, there are innocent people here, we must be careful. Percy, start. Grover found the key and they started. Annabeth, what day is it? Percy, I hope it hasn't happened. Grover, guys, look at that. They saw a sign and realized that there was 1 day left until the solstice. Percy, damn, we were there for a long time. Grover, where to? Percy looked at the map. Percy, looks like we're going to Hollywood. Grover, great guy, we'll be there very quickly. Grover hit the gas and they headed to Hollywood. Time skip. The 3 of them were in the Hollywood letters and there was some writing that Percy could read and a hole opened up. The 3 of them went in and saw the boatman. They offered him money but he burned it. Percy, you forget how things work here. Grover, yes, I regret it, I still haven't recovered from the drugs. Percy gave him many drafts in exchange for taking them. The ferryman accepted the bribe and they were taken through the underworld to Hades' mansion. When they entered they were surrounded by 2 hounds that growled at them until Persephone voted them away. And Hades appeared. Percy, Hades. Hades, nephew, hello, tell me where the lightning is. Percy, I don't have it. Hades, and you came to the underworld without the lightning bolt so that. Percy, for my father, and why do you need the lightning bolt? Hades, just to reveal myself and get out of this mess and rule Olympus. Percy, what a stupid idea. You alone against everyone is suicidal and you know it. Hades, give me the lightning bolt and I'll give you your father. Percy, I don't have it. At that moment Hades showed his father what he called him, and he released his shield and tried to hug him, but he disappeared. Percy, why? Hades, you think he had it? No, his stupid soul stayed with you protecting the demigods. Very stupid of him to give his entire soul just for you. At that moment Percy's power began to rise in an enormous way, and not only his but also Grover's, who began to emanate Issei's power in addition to his shield beginning to turn black with flames, and Annabeth's dagger began to grow. And what is missing to say, Percy, his eyes began to shine, and his sword began to manifest. Percy, angry you will die for using my father as you please. Percy lunged at Hades, but Persephone interfered, trying to get them into the cauldron, but they easily broke free, and then the dogs tried to bite him, but Percy kicked them away. Percy, I'll kill you, Hades. Percy started fighting Hades while Annabeth and Grover fought Persephone. The fight, I say fight, the massacre that Percy gave him, cutting him on all sides, and he began to cry from the pain. Percy, it's time to die, Hades, this is for messing with my family. Percy was about to cut off his head, but a hand rested on his shoulder, and he saw his father. So much was his joy that he began to cry unconsciously. Percy, father. Issei, you grew a lot, Percy, just like you. Grover and Annabeth became very good men and women, the children you raised, but you know he's not worth it. Percy, but he told me he could bring you back to life and threatened my brothers. Issei, never hold a grudge, son. I know it frustrates you, but hate leads to the path of hate. You must leave that alone. You and your brothers will lead a new era of peace, and I know it very well. Percy, it hurts to lose you. I don't know if I can hold on. I'm not as strong as you. Issei, if you are not as strong as me, you will be bigger and stronger than me, and you know it. I am sorry to leave your side, but it was the only thing I could do. Besides, I lived with some incredible children. That is enough for me. Do you think you can give a hug to your old father, puppies? The three of them approached and began to cry, all under the watchful, incredulous gaze of Persephone and Hades, because a soul should not manifest itself like that. Something like that had never been seen before. Hades, who are you? Issei, nobody important, but I see that your domains affect you. Let me help you. Issei put a hand on Hades' head, healing him, and he no longer heard those voices in his head and could calm down. Hades, how? Issei, there are some secrets that I must keep to myself, but it is for the best, and take better care of your wife, and I don't think your children will forgive you for being in that casino for 62 years. Hades, I know, and I don't know how to pay you back. Issei, help my children in my absence. Hades, I will do it. Hades fainted under the watchful gaze of Persephone. Issei, he's tired, you should take him to his room, and don't worry, he'll be the same as before. Persephone, thank you. Persephone left with Hades, and only the four of them remained in the room. Percy, I thought I'd never see you again. Issei, I was always with you, or forget about the casino. Percy, it was you, really. Issei, yes, and you two won't tell me anything. Annabeth and Grover came over and gave him a big hug. Annabeth, you don't know how much I miss you. Issei, I know, but it was necessary, and I never separated from you. I will always be here. Issei pointed at his heart, and they smiled. Issei, you better go and stop the solstice and help your brother Luke. Grover, what did he do? Issei, he has the lightning. You better get out of here and you will find out. Percy, I wish you would go with us. Issei, did I tell you or not? I will always be with you. Better go and give Luke a good beating for me. The three of them left, and saw that they were in a large building that was the entrance to Olympus, and Luke was coming down from the sky with the lightning bolt. Percy, why do all this, tell me? Luke, annoyed by the damn gods, they knew about us and that we were suffering, but they did nothing. The only one who helped us is dead because of them. Dad died because of their inefficiency. It's time to change reign. I thought Hades would start a war when he found out that Zeus didn't have his weapon. Issei, that's why you stole it if you know that Talia's sword is thousands of times stronger. Luke, I know that's why I was hoping to go in and see the war and I would take advantage and kill them. You better than anyone should know that the gods always know what happens. They saw how they attacked us, and they did nothing. The only one who helped us was Father. He gave his life for us. Now I will claim his. Annabeth, but why send us to Hades? Luke starts to cry. I thought that maybe he could revive him, but I investigated, and it was impossible because his soul is in the camp, and that's why I sent them to see if he could return with us. Grover, you know he never abandoned us. He will always be with us. He will live in our hearts. Luke, did you see it? Percy, yes, and he told me to hit you until you understand what you did. He told me that he was always with us. Luke, I thought I would tell him. I always asked him what I should do, and he told me to throw away the hate, but I just can't. Percy, I'm sorry, but I'm going to take you to Father so he can beat you up. Luke, I don't believe you, but we'll see who wins. Luke threw the lightning as if it were anything and took out his sword holding the two-handed one, and the same with Percy. Percy, guys, don't get involved. This is between him and me. Grover, do it quickly, it's almost the solstice. Percy, take it for granted. Percy lunged at Luke. It was a great gunfight. Sparks flew and they floated with their sneakers. Everything was very close until Luke managed to injure Percy with a large vertical cut from his shoulder to his waist. Luke, give up. Percy, never. They fought again until Percy used his sword and created water from the air and used it as bullets against Luke, leaving him with bruises due to his armor. Percy, we're even now. They returned to a great battle, but when both were about to cross each other, a light separated them. Enough, you two. Luke, crying dad? Issei, how long, son? But I see that you didn't listen to me and decided to start this war. Luke, but it's their fault that he died. Issei, no, that was my decision, to die for my children, for you. As I told you a long time ago, you are destined for great things. Luke, it is time for you to make your decision. You choose whether war or peace. You know that if this were caused, they would use your brothers as weapons. Luke, I didn't think about that. Issei, see, don't you think? You better fix your mistake, because when I get back I'll tell your moms what you did, and they bought steel flip-flops. A chill ran down Luke's spine. Issei healed them and they hugged him one last time as he disappeared again. Issei, remember I will always be here. Issei pointed at the heart and disappeared, leaving the four happy. Luke, it's time to pay for my sins. Percy, yes, I'll give them back, but they won't touch you. Luke, but... Annabeth, if Father also hits you when he comes back, Mom, that's enough punishment for me, or forget it, he said it himself. Grover, yes, Mom will punish you, haha, I can already imagine your face. Luke, how bad, but what does it matter? They entered the elevator and went to a room where all the gods were. They kicked in the door and everyone paid attention to them. Percy, I am Percy D, noblesse son of Issei D, noblesse and unfortunately the blood son of Poseidon, and I come to bring the lightning. Zeus, you finally appear, thief. Luke, it wasn't me who stole it. Zeus, why? Luke, personal matters. Zeus was about to throw a lightning bolt at Luke, but Percy stopped him with his sword. Hephaestus, where did you get such a weapon? Percy, my father gave it to me. Poseidon, but I never gave you that weapon. Percy, and who said you are my father? I'm talking about Issei D, noblesse. The goddesses remembered that name, the man who purified the earth and the mortal who looked after the demigods. Artemis, how is your father? Artemis spoke excitedly to know about his love. She knew nothing about him because he found a way to avoid being tracked. Percy died. Everyone was silent at that fact. Artemis, crying how? Percy, I better show them. Percy from the air made a sphere of water, surprising everyone more, and showed Issei's last moments. Hestia, I'm sorry for your loss. She met Issei before and they were friends. Even though she didn't admit it, she liked him a lot, as did several goddesses, but they never said anything, and now she regretted not telling him her feelings. Poseidon, how can I endure so much? Not even one of us could endure so much, and from what I saw, some monsters were on the level of Atlas. Issei, if that's all, I'm leaving. Zeus, I demand that they give us their weapons. Percy got angry but then smiled. Percy, fine if you can lift my sword. Zeus approached confidently but could not move her even a millimeter. Zeus says, Percy, the sword chooses its bearer according to Dad, and not anyone can have it, not like his weapons that if they steal them they will obtain their power. That left all the gods more surprised. Athena, Annabeth's daughter. Annabeth, never call me that, my father and mother died 4 years ago, do you understand? Athena was silent at her daughter's harsh words and regretted not taking care of her because of Zeus' stupid rules. They were about to leave until Hermes spoke. Hermes, you did it out of revenge, right? All the gods paid attention. Luke, I don't understand you. Hermes, revenge for not helping your father, isn't it true? Luke, yes. Artemisa, I'm sorry about your father, but we couldn't help him. He put up a barrier that didn't allow us to detect them. Luke, sad I didn't know that. Artemis, be happy, I'm sure your father will return soon. Luke, what do you know? Artemisa, before he and I were friends but I left him. Percy, yes, he told us, but how will he come back? Artemis, he told me that he couldn't die, he just fell asleep to recover and would come back. Annabeth, crying, you're not lying. Artemisa, I would never lie about something so delicate. He surely told you that it would be in your heart, right? Grover, yes. Artemis, he meant it in a double sense. A part of his essence rests in you. I'm surprised that you didn't realize where he left his soul, and from what I see, that pine tree is intact. He will return, rest assured. They paid attention, and it was true that their father's essence was with them. Luke, how? Artemis, I don't know. He didn't tell me what he was or who he really was, but rest assured that he will return, just wait. Percy, thanks for the information, I'm sure this will brighten my brother's day. Artemisa, you're welcome, and tell me how he spoke about me. Percy, that she was one of the most beautiful and gorgeous women he ever met, and that if they met again he would apologize for leaving her like that. Artemisa began to cry with happiness. Percy, we better go, guys. Poseidon, Percy is waiting. Percy, what do you want? Poseidon, I ask for your forgiveness. I know I'm a failure, but I'd like to be a father and son. Percy, I'm sorry to tell you that will never happen because I have a father, but we can be friends. Poseidon, don't you hate me? Percy, my father taught me to forgive everyone. Poseidon, thank you. Percy, you're welcome, and guys, let's go. The 4 of them headed to camp, and when they arrived, Leah practically almost killed Luke for his stupidity. The 4 of them told them everything and the return of their father, and the youngest of 12 were crying with joy to see their father again. Talia, crying, it's not a lie, right? Percy, I would never lie about that. Father will come back, and it is better to make him proud of us or not, guys. All, yes. At that moment a silhouette appeared in the sky, and everyone looked at the father, who smiled at them, and they began to cry while he gave them a beautiful smile. Issei, I will always be proud of you puppies. All, Dad. Issei began to disappear into the sky. Percy, I hope you come back soon. Percy, okay guys, today we're going to play the flag game. We have to improve so that Dad can feel proud of the children he raised. All, yes. Chapter 15, The Sea of Monsters. A year passed after the lightning strike, and everyone was happy and helped some demigods who told them about their father, and they wanted to meet him when he returned. And what surprised everyone the most was that Grover became a boyfriend with a forest nymph. Apart from the fact that everyone could reach level 2 of their weapon, which was an improvement, or armor in some cases, but the most skilled ones like Percy already had phase 3. The weapons were called sacred gears, each one was unique and designed for its bearer. Even the new ones took tests to see if they were worthy of one, and the tree's branches formed a special weapon for them, and that made the tree, even without knowing who he was, call him Dad, because whenever they went alone they did not see a tree but the silhouette of Issei, and he advised them. And the weapons in their normal phase were sacred gears, and in their second level they called it balance breaker, and the third form they named it Juggernaut Drive. They called them that because one day Percy was told the names and he knew it was his father. But now they were all impressed because a Cyclops who claimed to be Percy's biological brother arrived, who was brought by Dionysus, and Chiron told them an ancient legend that a son of the Great Three would bring destruction or salvation to Olympus, and they did not know who the legend would be, but with the arrival of Percy's brother the entire camp filled him with questions like where was he from? Where did he live? And many more, but he was surprised that they did not see him as a monster when he asked them why. They said that parents did not raise someone who judges by appearance, and if he entered the barrier it was because his father allowed it. When they mentioned father, he told them that yes, he was a tall dark blonde with armor. They told them yes, and they were more surprised that they are brothers. That day everyone celebrated, and more Percy for having a brother, but somewhat sad to know that his father did not see him, but continued with the hope that he would return if it were not for something that made his children start to hate monsters. And why then? Grover, what's your name, friend? Tyson, my name is Tayson. Annabeth, and your last name? Tyson, or if I'm sorry, my name is Tayson D. Noblesse. The whole camp was silent, no one spoke. Talia, who gave you that last name? Tyson, Dad, he brought me here. He told me that I was in danger if I stayed where I was, and he brought me here, and my dad's name was Issei D. Noblesse. Nobody talked so much it was the shock that some fainted. Tyson started to get scared, thinking that he would be rejected, but was surprised to see everyone celebrating and shouting for joy. Tyson, confused, they're celebrating. Grover, well, you don't know it, but we were all raised by him. You're our new brother. Tyson, tearful, brother's family. Percy, yes, family, now you are part of ours. Tyson, and Dad? I can't see him. When he was with me I couldn't touch him. Everyone was silent, and some started to cry because even though they got over it, it still hurt. Tyson, I'm sorry to remember something bad. Percy, it's okay, you didn't know. I'll show you. Percy made a water sphere and showed him everything. Tyson started crying while screaming that it was a lie. Percy, we went through the same thing too. Tyson, crying, he can't. Percy hugged him and he fell asleep from the emotional shock. Percy, I'll take him, it was a lot for him to know that father died. Grover, yes, but I would like to know what his weapon is like. How is it the same as yours? Percy, I don't think so, but I'm leaving. You guys celebrate. I have to take care of him. Luke, there's no way our new brother will miss the party, so tomorrow we'll celebrate. Bianca, he is also the guest of honor. Percy, fine, I'll take care of him and go. Time skip. Tyson started to wake up, and the first thing he saw was Percy in a chair next to his bed, and when he settled down Percy woke up. Percy, I see you woke up, and how are you? Tyson, I have no wounds, but it hurts. You don't know how much it burns. Percy, yes, I know, we went through the same thing, but he will come back. Tyson, how? Percy told him what he knew. Tyson, great dad will be back, and too bad I missed the party. Percy, you're crazy, tonight is the party. Did you forget? You're the guest of honor, because you're our new brother. Tyson, thank you. Percy, you're welcome, and get changed before we have breakfast. At breakfast. Grover, and tell me how you lived. Tyson, in a cave, because they abandoned me in that place. I only know that he always took care of me. He told me that he couldn't take me for the moment because I wasn't ready, but he always took care of me and his food was the best. Annabeth, yes, and no one can deny it. I still miss those cupcakes. Everyone started laughing, and night came and everyone was celebrating without alcohol for their father until everything started to shake. They all went out and saw several mechanical bulls accompanied by thousands of monsters that began to charge, but at the first blow it began to break, scaring everyone. Then they hit again, and this time the barrier was fragmenting, worrying their children, and the older ones like Percy ran like crazy to stop it. But everything happened in slow motion, watching how the barrier broke like glass, unleashing his fury, releasing great power just like the others, some entering phase 2 or like Percy who began to manifest the juggernaut. After that, everyone was silent, but what surprised them was shouting at Tyson as he began to manifest his weapon, seeing that he was at Percy's level. Tyson, damn you! I will never forgive you for this. Tyson, full of rage, used his sword and ran like crazy, killing several monsters, and the rest followed his example using their bows or respective weapons. When they killed everyone, they saw how a silhouette appeared showing a blond man with some black parts, and that he was a demigod. Percy, who are you? Hector, my name is Hector, unfortunately the son of Apollo. Percy, what do you gain from this? Tell me, what do you gain from this? Percy screamed in anger, as he practically saw his father die protecting them. Hector, revenge. Tyson, who? Hector, by the gods, for taking everything from me. Annabeth, what did they take from you to make you do this madness? Hector, they took away from me, father, the last thing I had. Grover, don't tell me that. Hector, that's right, Satyr, I'm Hector, one of the first sons of Issei de Noblesse. Everyone fell silent. Percy, annoyed, if you are his son like us, why are you doing this? Hector, for him, because I love him. Annabeth, you're killing him, how is that love? Hector, he simply released his soul from this place so that it can rest eternally. Percy, how could you? Hector, see you later, brothers, but I must bring several titans to help me with my revenge. When Percy and Tyson were about to cut it, he disappeared in a light. No one spoke to each other. Everything was a deep silence until they saw several gods coming to their location. Artemis, what happened here? Artemis asked worriedly because several children were injured, and what bothered her most was not feeling Issei's presence. Percy, what are you doing here? Hestia, the barrier that did not allow us to know where they were disappeared, that caught our attention. All the campers started running in a specific place, and the dubious gods followed them, but when they arrived they saw a beautiful tree that was withering quickly, but due to its size at this rate it would take a few weeks at most. Hermes, what is this place? Hermes asked for answers but only received a signal that he saw what looked like a tombstone. Hermes read aloud, surprising everyone, but the goddesses present began to fall to their knees while crying, and they were not the only ones. Each of Issei's children began to lie down while crying, but the ones who were worse off were the children and Tyson. Tyson, Dad, no, don't leave me. I don't want to be alone again. Please, I beg you. No one could speak until Chiron spoke. Chiron, what are you going to do crying? Concentrate, and let's find a way to save him together. Chiron raised their spirits, and they all went to the library that they had. It could be said that it was 10 times bigger than Athena's. That surprised the gods because they never imagined that. Chiron, come on guys, divide into groups of 10 and each one find a section quickly. Time is money, and you gods, the better fast. Everyone started to search, even the gods, to save an innocent being. After a day of arduous searching, they found something that Tyson found. Tyson, I found it. Everyone paid attention to him, and it was already noon. Denisio, according to the data I found. Tyson, Hey. Denisio, the only thing that can save his father is the golden fleece. Denisio showed an image of the Bellacino. Denisio, this little pig is in the sea of monsters. Everyone was in suspense. Denisio, the only ones who can guide them is a satyr, and we have highlighted the most information and we chose. Percy, me, Grover, Annabeth, Clarice, Talia and Bianca will go. Denisio, if that was going to be it. Denisio hid a paper that said other names and threw it into the fire. Luke, I want to go. Percy, you shouldn't take care of the camp, and if we leave it unprotected, monsters might attack. There are too many demigods together, and that will attract thousands of monsters, and you must protect them. Luke, TKS okay, but if you need help we will go immediately. Percy, I'm counting on it. Hermes, I will help you. I have some artifacts in my warehouse, I will guide you. Percy, no need. Hermes, if necessary, you will need all the help you can get. I will be getting things ready for you. You go to this address. Percy, it's okay as long as Clarice, you and the others go see the Sea of Monsters. Clarice, with what boat? Everyone looked at her with serious eyes. Clarice, okay, I'll buy one. Grover, why don't you use the one you bought that yacht on? Clarice, you won't touch it, it's my baby, and I can buy a battle one. Grover, okay, just saying. Percy, good going. Everyone said goodbye like the little one said to come back quickly, or another like Grover who separated from his partner saying that he would return. Everyone went their separate ways, and Annabeth called a taxi driven by three sisters who talked strange things like the future changed and several predestined events no longer existed, but in the end they gave her several random numbers. When they arrived at Hermes' house, he gave them several gifts, according to why they did not pay, and when they were about to leave, Hector appeared and took Grover away. They located him thanks to the shield he had. Then they were on a dock that they didn't know how to go to. Annabeth, and now what do we do? Percy, I don't know. Tyson, how about we ask Dad for help? Percy, he's probably weakened or dying. I don't think he'll hear us. Tyson, Dad will always help us, and even more so if one of his children is in danger or you forget him. Percy, family comes first. Tyson touched the water, and two blue seahorses and one pink one appeared. Annabeth, seriously pink. Percy, yes, it's your favorite color. Annabeth, I just hate that people think that women just because they are women like pink. Tyson, is it always like this? Percy, get used to it, let's go fast. Grover needs us, so I feel his shield is sealed. Tyson, how is it possible to seal a divine weapon? Percy, I don't know, but we have to find out. When they arrived, they saw a yacht that was traveling and they got in, but they saw a modified chimera that began to attack them, and when they managed to defeat it, they cut off its tail, then its wings, and finally stabbed it with their sword. Plus applause plus. The two looked back at Hector. Hector, I was surprised that they managed to defeat her in record time. Percy, give me back Grover. Hector, I'm sorry, but we need it for the Bellacino. Annabeth, why are you still doing this? Hector, I told you, didn't I? It's for revenge. The gods are corrupt, just like the Titans. They took the place of their father and his children. We Titans are the ones who have to do it. Percy, you want to rule Olympus. Hector, if you want, I'll give you the throne. I don't care. The only thing I want is to see the gods die. When I woke up from my dream, a long dream that lasted centuries, the first thing I tried to find was Dad, but surprise, he had died, the only thing he had died. Percy, and that's why you blame the gods. Hector, they had thousands of opportunities to help us, but they just sat on their thrones watching the world burn. They had children from the beginning, and who helped us? Only the... Percy, we'll stop you and I'll make Mom punish you, and surprise, Mom has steel flip-flops. A shiver ran through Hector's spine as he remembered his mother. He was afraid, even though his mother denied it. If she saw what he was doing, she would rather commit suicide. Hector, pretending to be normal, I don't care, it's a small price I'll pay to avenge my father. Percy, well, I tried the easy way, but I see that you don't give in. Percy tried to activate his weapon but couldn't. Percy, why can't I now? Hector, that's why. Hector showed them a kind of medallion. Hector, this negates all the magic around it, but the bad thing is that I'm also within range. Percy, how stupid we are, 3 against 1. Hector, tell me better. Several thugs came out of nowhere. Annabeth, you had to talk. Percy, I hope the others are doing better. Elsewhere. Clarice and her ship were sinking in the jaws of Charybdis. Percy gave up and they took his things, and what made them laugh the most was that his things were within his reach. He was just waiting for some waves and to be able to take his things. And as Percy predicted, a strong wave made their things fall and they were able to hold on, and they used the tape that made things disappear and the bars disappeared, and then when they didn't find Grover they came to the conclusion that they had already taken him, and they were going to leave, but Hector intercepted them. Hector, I won't let you ruin my plans. Percy, I'm sorry, but the ship is already sailing. Percy jumped into the river when Hector looked over the edges and realized that the 3 of them were there. Hector, follow them, they can't go far. Hector chased them, but Percy used a Hercules bottle that released air from the 4 cardinal points. Hector, TKS. With Percy, they were heading to the meeting place until the bottle ran out of air, but out of nowhere teeth started coming out of the water. Percy, take me to the... Percy didn't finish because they were devoured by the beast, and when they entered its stomach they saw something that left them with anime-style drops because how simple was Clarice, who shot at the beast's bones and screamed at everyone. Percy pretended to cough, but they didn't pay attention until he coughed harder. Clarice, what are you doing here? Percy, same as you. They stayed a few minutes until they began to hear that he was about to digest. Percy, Clarice, I don't mean to offend you, but you thought about shooting, I don't know, maybe at his fragile stomach, but at his bones. Everyone fell silent and fell back. Clarice, yes, only that I knew that you would also be eaten and we were waiting for you. Tyson, he's always so tsundere. Percy, yes. Clarice, I hear you know. Both, yes, we knew. That made him pop a vein, but he ignored them and shot at his stomach, and they went out there and headed to what looked like an amusement park thanks to the coordinates that the Grey sisters gave to Percy. When they arrived they looked for a place that Tyson guided them to because he knew the place since Polyphemus was the closest thing to a celebrity among the Cyclops. When they arrived they entered the cave and realized that Grover was there dressed as a woman with an eye on his forehead. Everyone started taking photos. Percy, I will blackmail him a lot. Annabeth, you're not the only one. After that they called Grover and they came up with a plan on how to take the beam from him and corner him and kill him easily because his power in his first phase was at the level of a god and his second form was that of a titan and his third was that of a primordial, but it shortened his life if they abused its use the most they could use it. Without wasting their life was 5 minutes. And just as they planned, Grover led him to a closed place, then an arrow from Bianca hit him, an arrow that immediately burned his eye, making him scream. Polyphemus, woman help me. Grover, I'm not your wife and I'm a man and I have a girlfriend. Grover used his air shields and locked him in, leaving his head and Percy and Tyson there. Polyphemus, 2 sons of Poseidon, ha ha ha, I smell it. Percy, he will never be my father but I can call him a friend and I'm sorry but I have to kill you and it's for 2 things. Tyson, you killed many of our brother's demigods and we need the Bellacino to save someone. Polyphemo, ha ha ha, how interesting, children of the noblesse. Percy, how? Polyphemus, that bastard, when he almost killed Theseus, he locked me up and threatened me to never mess with one of his children again, and from what I deduce, he died, right? Or he is dying, that's why they need the little pigeon, because if not, he would never leave them alone without his protection, or am I wrong? Tyson, you hit the nail on the head. Percy, leave it to me. Percy, okay, don't delay. The others left except Tyson. Tyson, father taught me to never harm the innocent, but you are not innocent. The only thing I can do for you is give you a painless death. Polyphemus, thanks, I guess I would have liked to face him. I will never forget that feeling. It was a real fight, and from what I see you inherited his will. I hope you achieve your goals, demigods. Tyson cut off his head and took the pig. When everyone saw him with blood on his sword and somewhat trembling. Percy, is this your first death? Tyson, yes, we better go, we already have the pig. Hector appeared and several men pointed guns at them or others with bows. Hector, I knew they would make it but I want the Bellacino. Percy, never. Hector made a signal and everyone saw how an arrow went to Percy, but Tyson got in the middle and began to stagger and fell into the void. Percy and oh. Percy was held like everyone else and had his little pig taken away. Time skip. They were all tied to posts and watched as they brought in several boxes. Hector, here lie the remains of all the Titans. Little by little they will return and only Kronos was missing. Hector, I have brought them to overthrow their children. A Titan hit him and he crashed into a wall, breaking the amulet with him. Kronos, where is Atlas? Random Titan, as I recall, he holds up the sky. Kronos, we will bring it soon. In the meantime, let's head to Olympus. At that moment, Percy and the others who broke free made themselves noticed. Percy, not if we stop them first. Kronos, My grandchildren, it would be better to kill them, they may be obstacles. Kronos was about to pass them but was stopped by a blow from Oceanus. Kronos, annoyed, what's wrong with you? Ocean, I will not be ruled by you and your stupid ideals again. At that the Titanides went to the side of the demigods. Kronos, I will kill them all. At that several portals were opened showing everyone in the camp and the Olympic gods. Kronos, my stupid children came to die. Zeus, I will kill you again, father. Zeus, when mentioning his father, said it with repudiation and disgust. Zeus, what are they doing here? Pointing to the Titanides and Oceanus. Talia, they don't want to be ruled by Kronos, and they are helping us. Zeus, I don't trust, but we need help. At that several monsters at the level of Atlas appeared. Percy, shaking those are. Everyone in the camp was in shock as his power rose to the point of surprising the Olympians. Kronos, I think you noticed, right? And if these are the monsters I sent to kill them, why did I know they would be an obstacle in my plans? LOL. Kronos started laughing like a lunatic. Artemis, what do they refer to? Talia, hate, those are the same monsters that came to kill us 5 years ago. The gods were surprised and began to recognize them by what Percy showed them. The gods felt some hatred because sending those monsters to an innocent being disgusted them, and because of the goddesses they were killing with their gaze downcast and their hair covering their eyes, their power rose as high as possible. Kronos, my plans were to kill them, but I didn't expect that stupid mortal to give his life for simple insects. He even gave his soul to protect them, and the funniest thing is that now his soul is disappearing, ha 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 ha. Kronos started laughing as all the campers manifested their balance breaker, and the most advanced ones began to develop the juggernaut drive for the first time. Percy, calm down, guys. Don't let yourselves be clouded by hatred, he wants to provoke you, don't forget your father's teachings. The campers began to calm down. Percy, okay, so we'll go, the archers will go back and the defenders will start shooting, protect them and the most fit to fight in the front alongside the gods of Olympus. Zeus, nobody orders me around. Percy gave her such a cold look that it made her shiver a little. Zeus, just because father is very strong and those monsters will make it difficult. Percy, attack. Everyone started to fight, it was easy, but the Titans were difficult because the pigeon barely suffered damage, they barely healed him. After 2 hours of intense fighting, only a few Titans remained and the campers retreated due to exhaustion, and Oceanus and the Titanides were also tired. The only ones left fighting were Percy, Grover, Annabeth, Talia, Bianca, Nico and Luke, and the 3 strongest of Olympus, and Clarice was no longer there because she led everyone along with Ares and they could no longer take it. And of the Titans only 5 remained. Percy, every 2 go against a Titan and remove the little beast that has its regeneration is less because it is divided. All yes. With Grover and Annabeth versus Air Titan. Annabeth, and the plan. Grover, I think the best thing would be to lock him up and use your juggernaut drivers and cut him off. After all, nothing survives that. Annabeth, okay, but we only have 1 minute and give me time to chant. Grover, okay. Grover used his shield of rage and set the regenerating Titan on fire. At that moment I take advantage and use the Iron Maiden and lock him up. After that the Titan began to return, but it was seen that in the center was the Bellicino. Annabeth activated her juggernaut drive. His juggernaut made his dagger grow and a shield appeared on his left arm and a golden armor. Annabeth went at full speed, jumped and pierced the Titan's chest with her sword, taking out the little pig in the process. Grover, exhausted, we did it. Annabeth, tired, yes, but it was very exhausting. They both fell to the floor. With Bianca and Nico versus Lava Titan. They both thought about what strategy to use until Nico came up with something. Nico, sister, I'll start hitting him and you'll use all your concentrated power and shoot it at his chest and I'll take out his hawk and finish him off, okay? Bianca, but if it moves. Nico, I'll take care of it, and I'll show you something cool. Bianca, I hope so. Nico began to cut off his limbs, but he regenerated immediately until he saw that he was almost there as his sister finished her chant demonstrating her juggernaut drive. Bianca began to gather all her energy into the tip of her arrow. And Nico was not far behind. He began to recite a chant while the Titan regenerated. When Nico finished, he surprised his sister because his sword split in two and he activated his juggernaut. And an armor surrounded him. Nico, I'll stop you and keep your little pig. Nico pinned his back to the floor and several black chains came out of the floor that tied him up. Nico, Bianca is all yours. Bianca finished accumulating the power and launched a fire arrow that devastated the center of the Titan, and Nico ran and grabbed the beam and cut off the Titan's head. Nico and Bianca deactivated their juggernaut. Nico, we did it. Bianca, yes, I think I'll fall asleep. Nico, yes, I'll go with you. Both blood brothers ended up unconscious. With Talia and Luke versus Earth Titan. Luke, what's the plan? Talia, you will distract him and I will start to gather a strong attack on my juggernaut, and you should also use it. Its regeneration is greater than the others. Just as Luke said, he used his juggernaut. Luke started making several cuts that disappeared as soon as he made them. Luke, damn, I have to kill time. Luke was there for a minute and had 2 minutes left. Luke, hurry up, Talia. I don't know if I can take it. Talia, almost there. Luke had 30 seconds left, and at that moment he used all his power in his weapon, which formed a complete sword. Talia, die, damn it! Talia threw the lightning bolt, and it pierced the Titan's chest, which began to regenerate immediately, and Luke, in his last effort, grabbed the giant and threw his sword at its head, piercing it. Luke, you finally die, damn it! Luke spat out blood and fainted just like Talia. With Poseidon and Hades versus Water Titan. Poseidon, what are we going to do? Hades, I don't know, but we have to finish it. It's the least I can do for Issei's children. Poseidon, do you know him? Hades, he helped me with my domains, that's why I'm saner. Poseidon, I would like to meet him. Hades, me too, in person and not just his soul, and thank him, but I have an idea. Poseidon speaks. Hades, we cut off his limbs, and when he starts to regenerate I use my camouflage, and I go into his chest and take out his hawk. I go out and you kill him. Poseidon, I have no proof but no doubts either, let's do it. Hades began to use fire by cutting off both of his feet. Poseidon used his sword and cut off his arms, then when he began to regenerate Hades held his breath and entered his body, and when he took out the pigeon Poseidon used all his power and cut off his head, killing him. Poseidon, he was tired. Hades, don't even tell me, I think I'll take a break. The two proceeded to pass out. With Percy and Zeus. Zeus, what's the plan, brat? Percy, I don't know, Kronos will be difficult, especially with the little pigeon. Zeus, then let's cut off his regeneration. Percy, I have an idea, you charge a beam with all your power and throw it at its center. Zeus, but what if he dodges it? Percy, I'll take care of it. Zeus began to gather all his power and Percy began to manifest his juggernaut. When he manifested himself he began to run against Kronos, cutting him, but he regenerated quickly. This lasted for a while until Kronos managed to hit him, but Percy, having the armor, was practically invincible, but he had almost reached his limit, and it wore him out. Percy, when he finished his juggernaut, began to fall and a blow from Kronos was directed but was easily stopped by an armor similar to his own. Percy, who are you? You don't recognize your brother. Percy, shocked like Tyson. Tyson, easy, my sword helped me regenerate faster, and I got here. Sorry for the delay, but my chant is long. Percy, better late than never. Tyson, yes, let me take care of it while you recover. Tyson began to humiliate Kronos again like Percy, but he was almost reaching his limit at that moment. Zeus was almost there, and these two realized, and Percy used all the magic he had left entering the juggernaut, and just like Tyson they made chains of water that did not allow the Titan to move. Zeus, die! Kronos, damn demigods! Kronos was pierced, and in the process the giants separated from him, giving him a death, and all the defeated titans began to return to their respective coffins. Percy, what will they do with them? Zeus, we will send them to Tartarus in the safest place. At that moment Kronos' coffin began to move and Kronos emerged completely intact. Percy, shock what? Kronos, I always had a backup plan, and now that everyone is weak I will kill them. Kronos began to approach and hit Percy, making him spit blood. Percy, damn. Kronos, I'm sorry grandson, but you must die. Kronos was going to hit Percy, but an aura that began to heal all the wounded and gods appeared, stopping Kronos' fist. Kronos, you damn you, how are you still alive? At that moment the light ceased, showing a being made of light that made all the demigods start crying. Demigods, Papaya. Issei, children, I see that you got into a big mess, and as I see, Hector is still under your control. Percy, what kind of control? Issei, Hector would never be that person to hold a grudge. Annabeth, I assumed so, you always took care of us and taught us to never hate. I could smell something fishy going on, plus Mom would kill us. Issei, when he wakes up he will be the same again. Percy, father, you will kill him. Issei, I can't, in fact I'm breaking a lot of rules by interfering, even though I created those rules. Percy, but how do we stop him? Issei, they always find a way, but I will help them this time. Issei made it shine, and when it stopped instead of Issei there were several swords for Percy, Annabeth, Grover, Tyson, Luke, Clarice, Talia, Nico and Bianca. Imagine that there are 9 of them, and they are of their respective element, and Tyson's is ice. Percy, thanks Dad. The 8 took their respective swords and went to the Titan. The 8 of them divided and climbed up Kronos' arm as he tried to hit him, while Nico stayed down, cutting off his ankles or other parts of his feet. The 8 of them began to tear their respective swords against Kronos' skin, and then only 2 were left, Tyson and Percy, who jumped and cut Kronos' head in an X, which began to fall detached from his body. Percy, it's finally over. Tyson, I hope so. Everyone was knocked out. Time skip. The 9 woke up and realized they were waking up in the camp. Percy, what happened? Chiron entered with Dionysus. Chiron, it happened that they saved the world. Percy, the little pig. Denisio, we have them, we are waiting for them to do the honors. Percy, okay, let's go. The 9 woke up and realized that everyone was waiting for them, and they crowded around them, and when Percy put the pigeon they waited but nothing happened, they began to despair. Percy, starting to cry, why? Why don't you serve? Everyone started to cry, even the gods, who saw that despite dying, he helped them. Percy, it damn it works. Annabeth, calm down Percy, he wouldn't like to see you like this. Percy, crying, I would have liked to say goodbye to him. All the demigods began to cry for their father, but out of nowhere a hooded man cut down the tree, scaring everyone. Of course it wouldn't work if there's nothing to heal. Percy, that voice, Dad. The hooded man took off his robe, revealing a smiling Issei. Issei, hello, how are you? All the demigods rushed to hug him while crying. Issei, okay, I'm here, we must talk seriously, and that is up to the gods. Percy, okay Dad. Issei, but first, who wants dessert? To Issei's children, even Hector, who woke up and asked for forgiveness, his eyes began to shine, even from Artemis and the goddesses who knew his cooking. Issei, if that also includes you gods, let's go. I'll do it in a few minutes while you prepare the table and wash your hands. All yes. The demigods ran as Issei cloned himself, and several Issei began cooking while the gods watched intently. Issei, children, your mothers and they want to talk to you and more with Hector and Luke, so make your will. At that moment they felt true terror. Luke/Hector, I'm dead. Chapter 16, Farewell and Punishments. Issei cooked happily while his children waited patiently for him until he finished. When Issei brought out their plates, everyone had stars in their eyes, even Zeus, because he smelled better than Hestia's food. When everyone took their first bite of food, they screamed with joy and cried anime style. Annabeth, sniff, I miss this sniff. Percy, sniff like sniff, forget about this. Tyson could die in peace. Those and more comments were thrown, and Issei was all embarrassed that they were talking about him like that. Issei, don't flatter me so much, you know I like to cook for you. Everyone except gods, thanks Dad. Issei, okay. After that everyone was full, even the gods were more than satisfied. Issei, okay kids, it's time for your mommies to come. Luke, Percy, tell my wife and kids that I love them. Percy, if you don't have. Luke, get me a daughter and tell her I love them. Percy, okay. Issei at that moment opened a portal where the three mothers of the campers came out and began to cry. Damaris, little daughters. Men, crying comically, he left us aside. Veronica, you know what your other mother is like, give me a hug. At that everyone gave them a big hug. But out of nowhere Gaia came out and put everyone on alert. Issei, she is my wife, don't attack her. The gods calmed down but were a little surprised because Gaia, a titan, fell in love with, according to them, a mortal. Issei, fine, but in front of all my loves, do what you want, in an hour we will meet here. All yes. Hector and Luke were slowly sneaking to the exit, but they felt a terrible aura that made even the gods tremble. Veronica, where are they going? Hector, this to buy. Luke, cookies. Damaris, wrong answer. Gaia, daughters, help us. At that the daughters of Aphrodite came running with red eyes. Luke, mercy. Hector, they controlled me. Veronica, I didn't raise weak children, did I? Hector, no, mommy, I told you that you look radiant today. Damaris, no, but thank you, son. In that they took him where very manly screams were heard, even the gods felt fear for what they did. After 45 minutes the campers were talking until a conversation caught everyone's attention. Issei, drunk old Dionysus, how long? Denisio, irritated, good. Issei, and you're still a virgin. Denisio, annoyed, and how are you, Jehovah? At that everyone saw him and Issei was sweating profusely. Denisio, should I run? Issei, you shit. In that Issei chased Dionysus like a soul that the devil chases and ended up hitting him. Percy, Dad, you really are God. Issei, it's hard to explain, but yes. At that thousands of questions from his children began to question him. Issei, I'll explain it later, but it's better to go talk in a better place. At that Issei snapped his fingers and everyone appeared in the temple of the gods. Poseidon, amazing. Issei just snapped his fingers and the 12 thrones began to crumble, and a throne rose up that Issei slowly walked on and sat down. Issei, cold, it's time for you to remember gods. At that Issei made a snap and all the gods who knew him started to get headaches and knelt down. Apollo, what did you do to them, damn it? Issei looked at him coldly, but a voice interrupted them. Zeus, stop, son, he will kill you. At that Zeus knelt before him trembling, surprising everyone. Zeus, forgive his insolence, he does not know who you are. Issei, I better invite everyone. At that point the Titanides and Oceanus began to appear. Zeus, what are they doing here in Isan? That surprised everyone that Zeus called someone brother. Issei, I think you should know, but you are so careless that you lost practice. Hermes, who are you? Issei, I am what a god worships. That left everyone in doubt. Issei, I am the deity who taught all the gods of the 9894039937389193831 universes. That left everyone in shock. Issei, although for you it would be that I am the god that you pray to, I am the god among gods, the first of all. That surprised his children who didn't know about it. Issei, I will allow you to ask me. Hephaestus, since I created those weapons that the demigods possess, I'm not even capable of achieving something similar. Issei, well, I am the god of gods, I mean I can do everything, and Talia, show me your weapon please. At that Talia used her sword that made Apollo have little stars because he always wanted to be a Star Wars. Issei, these weapons were created by me and have a blood seal that the weapons will evolve according to the owner, apart from the fact that I would never leave my children unprotected, and whoever tries to steal a sacred weapon will have their soul taken out and taken to the Infernox. The gods began to tremble upon hearing that dreaded name. Apollo, could you make me one like that? Issei, no, I couldn't, it's just that each weapon is unique. Athena, and what is that about Jehovah? Issei, I ask you to take care of my creations, humans or not. Poseidon, trembling, yes, brother. Issei, and what they did? Poseidon, we left them helpless. Issei, that's why he interfered. If they continued at that rate, they would die. Athena, and why did you never tell us who you were? Issei, it was not necessary for them to know, besides I wanted to know how it would happen. Artemis, you will retaliate. Issei, yes, of course, yes. At that moment they felt true terror. Issei, first of all Titanides and Oceanus. Ocean, yes. Issei, you are forgiven for your actions because you were forced. Ocean, thank you. Issei, you're welcome, and now Zeus steps forward. Zeus, yes. Issei, your sins are that you ate your first wife and did not allow Athena to see her mother. Zeus, I know and I regret it every day. Issei, well, I will revive your previous wife, but you will not do anything to her. Zeus, thank you. Zeus was about to leave, but a very cold voice stopped him. Issei, cold, where are you going? Zeus, trembling, we're going to end up right. Issei, no, no, and no, your punishment is that you will spend 5 centuries in the Infernox in the circle of lust, and you know what they will do, right? All the gods who knew of that place trembled. Tyson, what's up there? Issei, you see, Tyson, in that place lustful beings are great depending on how much lust they have. That made everyone tremble at that punishment. Zeus, mercy. When she started screaming, black hands started pulling her body while she screamed like a little girl. Issei, well, in about 5 minutes he'll be here. Apollo, isn't that too little time? Issei, there are 5 centuries in that place, time passes faster. After 5 minutes a Zeus appeared with an aurora and all skinny and somewhat bald. Issei, how do you feel? Zeus, very purified and healthy, brother Issei. Poseidon, ha ha ha. Issei, I didn't think this shit was going to work, haha. Everyone started laughing. Zeus knelt before Hera. Zeus, can you forgive this stupid god? He didn't know how to value you. I swear I'll never be unfaithful to you again. Hera, seriously, never again. Zeus, I promise. Hades, whisper, what did you do to him? Issei, they made him watch Boku no Pico while Black just graped. Time skip, everyone calm down. Issei, well, now I will revive your mother Athena, and I hope you take care of her because I doubt Zeus will do anything. At that, Issei brought an inserted body and it began to shine, bringing Athena's mother and surprising the demigods. Issei, now Hades comes forward. Hades, brother, I accept all punishment, but don't do anything to Persephone. Issei, don't punish yourself. Hades, so? Issei, or just that it would remove that curse from Persephone. Hades, thank you. Demeter, thank you, now he will never see you again. Issei, then you Demeter go forward. She passed. Demeter, I didn't do anything. Issei, you're wrong, you want to separate your daughter from the love of her life. Demeter, she doesn't love him. Issei, you better see it yourself. Issei put a finger on Demeter's forehead, showing all the love Persephone had for Hades and vice versa. Demeter, I didn't know that. Issei, your punishment is give Hades a hug and apologize. Demeter reluctantly did so, and then withdrew. Issei then placed a hand on Persephone's head. Issei, now Ares. Ares, what do you want, sir? Everyone was shocked to see Ares talking to someone. Issei, it's good that you know your place, insect, not like your other versions. Poseidon, what do you mean? Issei, an Ares who wanted to grape my little daughter Eva Voss the Ultratumba. I was going to make him disappear from existence. Everyone was scared by his tone of voice. Hestia, what is VAT? Issei, my little girls made a better punishment. Zeus, what a brother. Issei, turn him into a mortal who serves my daughters in everything they want. Hermes, you can take away the lands of the gods. Issei, I decide well it is God and who is not, I am the absolute law, there is no one above me in power, and now Ares I will take away your nightmares. At that Issei touched Ares' forehead. Poseidon, what does this refer to? Hades, he did the same thing to me, his domains affected him mentally. Issei, well now your punishment is to marry Aphrodite. Hephaestus, sad but she is my wife. Issei, bro she doesn't love you. Hephaestus, I know. Issei, that's why Aphrodite, your punishment is to leave Hephaestus forever. Aphrodite, thanks, you saved me from that bastard. That hurt Hephaestus but Issei was going to get revenge. Issei, well now Hephaestus for doing your job well will reward you, come closer. Hephaestus approached, and Issei touched his forehead turning him into a young man. Issei, now you don't need Aphrodite anymore, any woman will fall for you. Hephaestus, thanks, I don't deserve it. Issei, yes you deserve it, and I just brought out your inner beauty. Hephaestus went to his place under the surprised gaze of everyone. Issei punished everyone depending on their mistakes. Issei, well now a new ruler. Zeus, but I am the. Issei looked at him with red eyes. Issei, you said something. Zeus, no. Issei, well I would give the position to some of my children but they are very young and have goals so take this. Issei passed them a cup with pink water. Percy, what is that? Issei, this will depend on you but if you drink it you will become immortal. Talia, it wouldn't be very dangerous for someone to steal it. Issei, this can only be held by your leader for now, that would be Percy, but this will be your decision if you want to marry a mortal. Grovert, thank you so much, my beloved will live longer. Issei, yes, but the ruler will be Uranus. That left everyone shocked. Chapter 17, Coming Back. No one came out of shock because Uranus was a cruel but fair being and now he would rule. No one knew what to say or do. Percy, nervous father, are you sure? Issei, of course, do they doubt me? Annabeth, it's not that, it's just that. Issei, just what? Talia, it's just that you have bad ideas sometimes, all of them. Issei, with a vein in his forehead, mentions 3. Talia, I'll mention 5, cooking with a flamethrower. Percy, my turn, go to a feminist march and tell them to go to the kitchen. Annabeth, when you stayed to sleep with the campfire lit, on the side of the forest. Then a Luke in a wheelchair starts talking. Luke, telling Mom that the other one was a better cook. Issei, but if they have 3 mothers, some are better at other things, who would think that all 3 would think that I met someone else? Luke, well, you're a god, you should have imagined it. Clarice, when Mom told you, I serve you, you answered sometimes. All the gods gave themselves a facepalm for tremendous stupidities. Issei, okay, I accept that sometimes I'm wrong, but now I'm sure. Everyone, we hope so. Issei went to a corner with a cloud of depression and said, children who do not respect their father, among other things. When Issei returned to his throne, he just snapped his fingers and all the monsters appeared. Issei, to save myself the story, I'll show them to you. Issei showed them everything important. Issei, well, knowing this, many of you committed many sins and others did not. Because of that, I will send you to a dimension where you do not need to eat and can live in peace. Issei didn't give them time to respond and snapped his fingers and all the monsters disappeared. Issei, now the important thing, cold voice chaos. In that chaos they appeared in front of Issei, trembling a little by his presence, and everyone looked surprised at the scene. Chaos, what Issei-sana wants. Issei, oh nothing, it's just that you do your job of watching badly and that bothers me. At those words Chaos began to tremble and sweat even more and hit his head on the floor asking for forgiveness thousands of times. But what was Chaos' job? Well, she was supposed to make the best decisions for the future, but she was lazy and sometimes she did her job. A clear example is that she let her son Chaos die for her children. Chaos. It will never happen again. Issei. If never again, why will you die? At the last words, everyone remained silent and watched as a purple aura began to emanate from Issei, and he stretched out his index finger and a small purple sphere formed there that began to emanate an enormous power capable of easily destroying a universe. Issei. Before creation comes destruction, but you have one last word. Chaos just stood still, trembling with fear, but what surprised the gods was seeing her strongest children stand in front of her. Issei, what are you doing? Percy, you can't do this. Issei, no, if I throw this sphere I can kill her. Annabeth, no, moron, we mean you shouldn't kill her. Issei, why? If she is no longer needed. Luke, but. Issei, but? Tyson, you taught us that if someone makes a mistake, it can be fixed. Issei, MTKS, why did you educate them so well? Okay, I'll forgive her, but I hope you don't get lazy again. Chaos. Mucha, thank you very much, Issei-sana. Issei, don't thank me, better say thank you to my children. What was I doing? Nico, on Uranus. Issei, yes, it's true. At that, Issei snapped his fingers again, and the primordial Uranus was formed from magma. Uranus, what am I doing here? I was dead. At that, Uranus moves her head, and when she sees Issei, he kneels and his head breaks the floor. Chaos, Issei-sama, what are you doing here? Issei, I better show you. Issei showed him all the information. Chaos, that idiot Kronos sealed his fate by eating his children. Kronos, I can hear you, you know? Uranus, yes, and I want you to know that I'm ashamed of you. Issei, well, now you Kronos, for eating your children and trying to kill mine, you will die. Those words were so cold that no one moved, not even his children saw that way of speaking. Issei, I would like to say that you have salvation, but family comes first before creation comes destruction. At those words, Uranus opened his eyes as he recognized that technique, and saw how a sphere the size of a marble slowly approached Kronos, and when it touched him, Kronos began to scream in pure agony while his body was dissolving into purple dust. When he finished disappearing, no one spoke and 5 minutes passed. Tyson, what did you do to him? Issei, I deleted everything from him, including his soul. At those words, his Otutos began to remember that emotionless killer who saw everything with disinterest, and who educated them. Percy, what do you mean, soul? Issei, you see, when someone dies, their soul rests, and is reborn into a new being without sins, but sometimes in the gods they can recover their memories, but when destroying their soul there is no trace of it left, even their cycle of reincarnation. Faced with this information, no one could get out of shock, but the one who was most scared was Chaos, knowing that she would have ceased to exist, because although this technique is well known, no one knew if it had a real function. Issei, that's all, but children, I hope you understand me. I have too many duties, but remember, I will always be here. Issei pointed at his heart, and began to rise. Issei, and also a part of me will be in the tree so they can take care of themselves. His children watched him leave without shedding tears, but before leaving he lowered himself, and opened his arms. Issei, give this old man one last hug. At those words they fell into tears and began to run to hug him, and then their mothers, who appeared at Issei's sides while saying words of a child losing his father for the second time, and not being able to do anything. Issei, don't worry, I'll always be with you. Issei opened a portal and entered, and the entire room fell silent. Chaos, from which we are saved. Uranus, it's good that you were in a good mood. Percy, but my father doesn't seem like he eliminated someone who doesn't deserve it, and he's also very good. Chaos, imbecile, he is the strongest god, not even his father is able to defeat him. Annabeth, but he wouldn't hurt anyone. Uranus, brat, Issei was known as a noble among the gods, hence his surname Noblesse, a surname so feared that just using that surname causes panic in the multiverse. Tyson, what did he do to be so feared? Uranus, you wouldn't want to know. Luke, but he looks so innocent. Chaos, but that innocence is the bad thing because he would destroy you just on a whim like Kronos. Percy, but we are his children, he wouldn't do anything to us. Chaos, this Issei yes, but the before would not matter to him. Nico, what happened to him? Chaos, nobody knows for sure, but it is said that he was betrayed and tortured by the primordials. When he fell before them, his hatred and thirst for revenge grew and his soul fragmented, and he became someone without emotions who lived with an ideal being perfect. But when he achieved it and sealed the primordials, he set out to find a purpose and decided to reincarnate into someone. That is why he disappeared millennia ago. Percy, what must he have suffered to become like that? Uranus, nobody knows, only his father knows. Annabeth, who is your father? Uranus, the creator of everything. Talia, what is it like? Uranus, nobody saw it, only Issei. Percy, let's each go home. Someday Dad will return and surely Mom doesn't want weak children. At these words everyone trembled, remembering their mothers. Percy, and you gods use protection. With those last words Percy began to walk with his brothers to the camp. But some goddesses who knew him felt sad because they would never see him again. Chaos, girls, don't worry, one day he will come back and it may be faster than you expect. At these words the goddesses took heart and went to their homes. Chapter 18, Little Trips. Issei was standing traveling where he was born as a human alongside Gaia, but out of nowhere Veronica manifested and saw Issei. Veronica, did you realize? Issei, yes. Veronica, are we going? Issei, yes. Veronica, then I'll sleep a little longer. At those words, a drop came out of Issei's neck. Time skip. Issei was watching as Watu did nothing as he saw how the timeline where Doctor Strange went crazy was being destroyed, and he did nothing. At that Issei stopped time at the precise moment where darkness almost consumed Doctor Strange and his beloved Christine. Doctor Strange, you did this, vigilante? Watu was shaking in fear, and this was noticed by Strange. Watu, how is that possible? Must have been sleeping. Christine, who are you referring to? Doctor Strange, I don't know, but if he's doing something worse than wine, who are you afraid of? Watu, he is coming, we are all lost. Doctor Strange, who's coming? Watu, the one above everyone swallows Issei noblesse. Doctor Strange, he did this? Watu, yes, the balance that holds the multiverse tilted because of you. Issei, yes, exactly Watu. At these words Watu began to tremble and the darkness began to recede, surprising Strange and Christine. A glow appeared where a man and a woman could be seen. Watu by inertia knelt and began to tremble and looked directly at Strange. Watu, kneel before the most important deity of all that exists. At these words, and seeing that Strange himself was not lying, he knelt down and was somewhat nervous because, in plain sight, the power of that subject was like comparing an ant with a dragon. Issei, I see that your people are no longer helping. Why? Watu. Watu, you see Issei-sama, some time ago we helped a race but it finally collapsed and they blamed us. We thought that we should not intervene since we might cause the same thing. But despite that I tried to help others even though my life is at risk. Issei, I know Watu, you helped many heroes of this reality but they do not intervene directly. Sometimes it is necessary, as a clear example is this. Don't you see that this entire universe was about to collapse and you did nothing? Watu, I know Issei-sama, but I was afraid of making the same mistake again. Issei, don't blame yourself, I'll talk to your race later and let them know I'm coming. Watu, yes Issei-sama. Watu began to leave as an onlooker. Strange watched everything and made sure to take care of Christine. Issei, nice to meet you Dr. Steve Strange. Dr. Strange, why he came here? Issei, straight to the point, I like it, you'll see in this multiverse the balance is being lost, that's why I decided to interfere. Dr. Strange, he will punish me. Issei, yes, but you will decide, give me Christine's soul and save the universe, and you would be a hero. Doctor Strange, I'm not a hero, I'm a villain. The hero would give up his love to save the world, but the villain would give up the world to save her. You already know my decision. Issei, Then give me your soul and save your beloved and the universe. Christine. Steve, my time came a long time ago, let me go. I can't let the man I love leave for me. Doctor Strange. And oh, you live for me, okay? Christine. Wait, no. Strange stood up and walked to Issei. Doctor Strange, take my life in exchange for her. Issei simply smiled and blew, and the Strange's entire body began to be enveloped in air. And after a few minutes you could see the two Stranges, but they both looked the same. Issei snapped his fingers and sent the Strange back to his home, but he saw the Strange of this dimension see his hands. Issei, I gave you back your humanity. Doctor Strange, why are you helping me, after everything I've done? Issei, I was going to destroy you, but you gave everything for her, and I respect that. Issei began to fly alongside Gaia and began to move away. Doctor Strange, wait, where are you going? Issei, I will talk to the Celestials. Issei snapped his fingers and transported Strange and Christine to their home while Issei flew away to the Celestials. On a planet, all the scared guards could be seen running in terror until a glow began to fall from the sky and everyone out of fear began to gather where Issei was heading. When the light hit the ground it split, and a layer of smoke rose. And Issei looked at all the guards with a cold gaze. I'll call the leader Eren. Eren, Issei-sama, I thought I would rest a little more after waking up. Issei, yes, you will see that my return was unexpected, but I want to know why they don't help the multiverse. Eren remained silent in fear, looking at the ground. Eren, when we first interfered we caused the elimination of a species because of that. Issei, I know what happened, but a failure is a failure. You should have learned from your mistake and improved, but what did you do? You gave up. That disappoints me. Because of you this universe and its alternate lines there is a lot of iniquity where the good suffer and the bad win. That is why from today I named Watu the new leader of the Vigilantes, and if it is of vital importance to interfere if the situation warrants it, do you agree? Watchman, yes. Issei, well, I'll go solve some problems. Issei began to travel to the zombie Marvel universe and made everything return to normal and erased everyone's memory. Then it was where the villain Hank Pink killed almost all the future heroes and snapped his fingers. Then the dead began to revive and everything returned to normal as if his daughter was still alive. Then he traveled to the Akum where he found Thanos with the glove and a wound from Thor and stopped Thanos' hand. Thanos, who are you? Issei, nobody important, but for you I am your killer. At that moment Issei cut off the head of the Mad Titan. Thor, who are you? Issei, no one important, and aim for the head next time. A confused Thor stood there, and when he tried to grab the glove it glowed and showed how Asgard was rebuilt, and the dead were resurrected. Thor, who are you? Issei had just rebuilt Asgard and was starting to leave, and it was where Ultron was about to start a universal war with the Infinity Gems, and when he saw it he simply destroyed his timeline. And why? Well, simply there was almost no life left because of that. Then he went to 616 to fix some things. When Issei arrived he saw a Peter Parker on top of a building looking all melancholy, and crying without his mask. Issei walked over and slapped him and a small lightning bolt entered his body. Issei, what is the best hero in history doing here? Spider-Man put on his mask and saw a young man talking to him. Spider-Man, I'm flattered by the fact that I'm young, but for few people I'm a hero and I know they won't believe me, but what I did was Dr. Octopus and now everyone hates me. Issei, and if they hate you, it shouldn't matter, they don't decide who you are, and if they don't see all your effort they are stupid. Spider-Man, thanks for the support. Issei, you're welcome. Spider-Man, I would like to know your name. Peter had turned to see his new friend, but he saw nothing but those words motivated him, and he began to swing straight to a bank robbery. Issei was happy to see what he did, but he knew he couldn't interfere anymore, and he started to leave, and next to him was Gaia, who saw everything he did. Issei, come on love, I'll make you know the place where I woke up. Issei took Gaia's hand and began to open a portal. Chapter 19 Home. And Issei was seen on his way to his home universe with Gaia, who was fascinated by the infinite space with thousands of projected universes. Time skip. Issei stopped the trip and opened a portal and Gaia entered behind him. When Gaia touched the ground, she looked like she was in Japan, but it was not very different from her dimension in terms of technology, but yes, in diversity of species. Gaia, where are we going? Issei, let's find a home. We'll be on vacation from my job and I'll make you meet the Olympian gods of this place and the others, okay? Gaia had stars in her eyes, taking a drop anime style from Issei. Issei, I think it's a yes, let's go. Issei pulled Gaia, who saw everything, because even though in her dimension there was the same thing, she never left because she was very sick due to the pollution that damaged her, and she could finally enjoy a normal life. Time skip. And Issei was seen walking through Greece until he saw Gaia with many of her merchandise. Issei, come on, it's time to meet the Olympian gods. Gaia simply nodded and Issei used a portal, and out of nowhere they appeared in the middle of a meeting where Issei's exes and the leaders of different factions were. Issei, I think I'll interrupt this nice conversation, bae. At that Issei began to leave, but Zeus stopped him. Zeus, brother, we need your help. Issei, what did they do now? Zeus, nervous, nothing. Issei, then I'm leaving. Elohim, you see, brother Rias had a clone that woke up, but this one is a woman. Issei, why? Elohim, they are about to release the Triaxa. At that Issei gave himself a facepalm. Issei, of course I should have released her a long time ago, since I forgot about that. Elohim, for freeing her. Issei, don't tell me she's female. Everyone opened their eyes in shock. Until Zeus saw Gaia, but she was more powerful. Zeus, hello, nice to meet you. Gaia, hello Zeus-san, I'm Gaia from a different universe and Issei's third partner. All the women in the room, their jealousy rose too high. Rias, my cute Issei, tell me, what is this hitch lying about? Issei, silence hitch, in short the hypotenuse of people. At that Issei began to make a magic circle where he transported everyone into the Triaxa seal. Issei simply spoke a strange language. Issei, elol yuklotup. After reciting strange words, the seal began to break. When the seal was broken, several magic circles appeared out of nowhere, from which troops from the Chaos Brigade emerged. And leading it all was Rias's clone. Issei, you have a name. Evelyn, of course my name is Evelyn Levon Lucifer and I am better than my stupid predecessor. Issei, I see that both of you have unimaginable egos. Evelyn, today, not only the supernatural world dominates, but also the human world. At that Evelyn approached the Triaxa and with a quick movement she put a collar on him. Evelyn, beast, I order you to kill all of these. At that the Triaxa's eyes turned white, and he simply roared. Issei, I would like to help, but I want to see how they improved. Issei stood behind her and created a couch and popcorn. Issei, you can. The gods were on guard and began to attack. What happened was that they hurt him, but not that bad. Issei, I expected more. At that two portals opened, showing a giant red dragon and Olympus. Issei, I see that they finally appear. But Issei didn't expect Olympus to try to place a seal on him, but he dodged it, but not the blow of the great red dragon. Issei, what happens to them? Olympus, this is so that you love us. I made a deal with the damned one of the big red one, or as you and I know, she is a woman. That revelation surprised everyone, and the red dragon began to surround itself with energy, and a woman was seen. Issei, how long? Yes, a lot. Issei, how long has it been since you cheated on me? That left everyone in shock. Zeus, were they a couple? Issei, we were, but she decided that I was someone weak and took her flesh and blood from me. It was very painful. You know I regret that every day. Issei, and I don't care. Alice, why are you doing this? Alice, I do this so you love me again. We will mark you and erase your memory. Issei, sad, why does such a crazy girl fall in love with me? Gaia, and what am I? Issei, nervous ho, you are special just like my other two beloved ones. Olympus, who is this little dragon hitch? Issei, stop calling me that, and I see you removed your mark just like your Elohim daughters and how they all removed their marks. Mine, we made a deal. Issei, I see that they sacrificed the last bit of soul they had left. Why? Rias, we would do the impossible to have you by our side again. Issei, if there were second chances, Lucifer would be at God's right hand. Elohim, I understood the reference. Mine per. Issei, no buts. Issei raised his hand and brought all his fingers together, and with a quick movement, he cut the Triax's collar. Issei, ready, now you're next. Issei in a few seconds killed everyone except Evelyn. Evelyn, poor favor no me mates. Issei, why? Evelyn, I'm not like Rise of him, I want to be free, to have a normal life. Issei sees the truth in her words and wipes away the few tears she shed. He wipes them away. Issei, I forgive you, you don't want to do this. Issei gave her a kiss on the forehead and she fainted. Then he saw the Triaxa starting to fall and a light shone, showing a purple-haired woman. Issei jumped and caught her in the air. Issei, this will be very stressful, see you later anyway. Chapter 20, Visiting my Ototos. In a homely house in the middle of the forest, Issei could be seen watching TV until he saw his wife say that food is ready. He was just going to go eat, but he felt Triax's power and decided to see what was happening, and he found her in defense mode looking at Evelyn, and she too. I expected an epic fight, but they started talking and it got boring. Issei, girls who resolve their differences by talking, how boring it is, not like us men. We quickly learn, hello, how are you? At that Triaxa hit him in the face, which he stopped with a finger. Issei, I think you're fine. Triaxa, who are you? Issei, your savior, I freed you from mind control twice. Triaxa, you're that draig-carrying boy, aren't you? Issei, don't talk to me about that underdeveloped lizard. Triaxa, what? You were offended, you must be proud to carry a dragon, the most powerful race. Issei, a lot of arrogance for someone I beat twice. Triaxa, it's true. At that the Triaxa gave him a kiss, making Evelyn and Issei open their eyes in shock, but a killer instinct flooded the room. Gaia, hello love. That smile was so scary that the author said, what a fart, what a fart. Issei, why is misfortune chasing me? Well, if it's going to take us there, let it take us in a limousine. In that Issei enjoyed the kiss and received a blow that left him unconscious, and his soul wanted to leave. Issei, I can kill the immortal and a 1.50 woman will dominate me, no sir. Issei tried to get up but another blow knocked him out. Issei, that's why I say we should listen and not be disobedient. After 5 minutes Issei woke up and saw himself in a mirror, seeing such a bump upon bump that he had on his head. Issei, this will hurt tomorrow. Issei stood up and went to the kitchen and saw the three of them talking very calmly. Issei, I thought you would kill Triaxa-chan. Gaia, she is not to blame for your stupidity, and she also explained to me that when a dragon defeats another, it automatically becomes her partner. Issei scratched his head and a spotlight turned on above him. Issei, I forgot that. Leaving the three to fall on their backs. Issei, you are free. Triaxa-chan, shoo. Triaxa, I'm not a dog that you can throw away, besides blushes whispers. Issei, huh? Triaxa whispers. Issei, do you like tea? Triaxa, blushes, I always liked you baka. Issei, hey? He. After a few minutes. Issei, please explain. Triaxa-chan. Triaxa, first of all, my name is Violetta and well, you see, ever since I freed you from mind control the first time, I watched you secretly. Issei covered his private parts and chest. Violetta, I didn't see you in the bathroom, well, not all the time. That made Issei move even further away from her and put on a coat. Violetta, I'm not a pervert. Well, you see, I saw everything that happened until I fell in love with you and your way of being, until the day came where I saw you die. Sobs. I stopped feeling your presence, and I didn't want to see anything else, so I stayed all this time in my prison crying until they opened it again. The only thing I thought about was revenge, and that's why they made that necklace so easy for me. Issei, how sad, and I'm sorry to tell you that I would like to meet you first, you know, go out, have dates. Violet, happy, delighted. Evelyn, and me? Issei, I'll take you with me. Evelyn, I don't understand. Issei, here they will want to kill you for your genes, and I will take you with me on my travels from dimension to dimension and from universe to universe. Evelyn, what will I do? Issei, you will be like my secretary. Evelyn, well, it's better than being alone. Issei, see, you already saw something good. Issei gave them both a hug, but unfortunately for him, two women appear and see the scene and take out two swords and the one in the red trench coat a gun. Veronica, explain yourself before I castrate you. Issei, okay. Issei began to tell everything very quickly and knelt before them. An explanation after. Damaris, okay, I give you permission only for 10. Issei, huh? Veronica, we know that you will fall in love with others, but we give you a limit of 10, but remember that my sister and I are the first. Gaia, I'm second, but I know you'll love me just the same. At that point Violetta approached and gave him a kiss. Violet, I hope you take care of me. At that Evelyn saw this jealously and approached Issei and pulled him by the collar of his clothes and gave him a kiss, even putting her tongue in his mouth. At that point Veronica, very jealous, separated them. Evelyn, I hope you liked my kiss. Issei was simply blushing and babbling things until Damaris hit him on the head to get him to react. Issei, it hurts. Why do they always hit me if it's not my fault? Maybe it's because I'm hexy. I can't help being hexy, it just comes out of me. Gaia then buries him in the ground with a tremendous blow. Gaia, to stop being funny. That made Issei faint. Time skip. Issei woke up and went to the kitchen, seeing everyone talking animatedly. Issei, this is how are you? Damaris, good. Gaia, Issei, what are we doing today? Issei, they plan to cite the gods to check their domains. Violet, I think that's fine. Then each one went to change. 2 hours later. Issei, they finally come out. Violet, it wasn't that much. Issei, we were supposed to leave at noon, it's 2 o'clock. Gaia, it won't be long, let's go. Girls, we'll go shopping later. Issei instinctively looked at his wallet, and there was nothing there. The funniest thing was that a fly came out of that place. Issei, I'll have to sell my things, even worse, my body. Issei was kneeling while crying and asking his father to give him money, and then Veronica came in and was dragging him while the women didn't understand, but the men did, and they said, F in the chat. Location Greece. When they arrived, they saw Mount Olympus, too tidy for Zeus's liking. When they were transported to the peak of the mountain, they saw that instead of a ruling Zeus, he was dressed as a servant, and the one on the throne was Hera. Hera, servant, I'm hot. Zeus, yes, miss. Zeus quickly left and returned with a palm leaf and began to fan Hera. Hera, now I want a Hawaiian fruit drink now. Zeus, all sweaty, simply nodded and left. At that, Issei pretended to cough to get attention, and when they saw him, Zeus looked at him as his salvation, and Hera gave him a hug. Hera, hello brother, what brings you here? Issei, well, with my partners to visit and review the domains. Hera, well, everything is fine. Issei, and not that Zeus ruled. Hera, before the past, concentrate on the present, and you owed me a favor. Zeus simply reminded her that she would not talk about his infidelities and bad decisions in exchange for being his servant and being the new queen of Olympus. Issei, okay, I ask you to take my partners. I'm sure you recognize Veronica and Damaris. Hera, of course I will give you the best experience. First we will go to the SBA. Hera took the girls while Issei stayed there with Zeus. Issei, what happened? Zeus, a scorned woman, that's what happened. First she treats me worse than scum, then she rules with iron nails. Please save me. At that, a cry of Hera calling Zeus was heard. Issei, duty calls, I will pray for you. Zeus looked at him with tears in his eyes and went to his mistress. Issei simply observed Hera and Zeus's domain and was surprised because Zeus's must have been a disaster, but now it was very good. Issei, wow, I never thought I'd see this. Well, Hera treats him like a dog. Nah, it's not my problem. Issei went to Aphrodite and saw her with her wives getting a massage from nymphs. Issei, well hello. Damaris, hi honey, you should try this. Violet, yes, it is very relaxing. Issei, maybe I'll come check this domain later. Issei began to examine him, but he was fine, but he noticed him very depressed, very sad. Issei, what happened Aphrodite? Why so much sadness? Aphrodite, it's nothing, it's just that I no longer have my beloved Hephaestus. Issei, I guess Hera saw that you didn't want him and they made you divorce, then Hephaestus is in his forge very calm but somewhat sad. Then you went with Ares, but he only wanted you for your body, and you realized but when you wanted to go with Hephaestus he was already talking to Athena and Artemis, and it hurt you to see them together, and you thought that he surpassed you, and now you are crying every night, and comes here daily to try to stop thinking about him. Aphrodite, wow, you surprised me, and if all that happened, Issei, I would tell you that he still loves you. Aphrodite, happy really? Issei, yes, but all those years of contempt and misery do not allow him to forgive you. What I recommend is that you be his friend, then his best friend, and try again. But of course keep in mind that Athena and Artemis have always loved him, that is why it is most likely that they will become a couple first, but do not lose hope. Because being a god he can have a harem. Aphrodite, do you think I can get into his heart? Issei, I don't think so, I'm sure of it, go in quickly. At that Aphrodite quickly went to find Hephaestus. Hera, do you think it was for the best? Issei, I don't know, but I know she really regrets it. Issei started walking and went straight to Hades. Issei, hello? Hades, what do you want, brother? Issei, nothing, just see your domains. Issei began to see how he was, but he was very well so far, he was one of the best. Issei, I see that she is very well, tell me, did you fall in love? Hades, yes, from my beloved Persephone we actually have 2 daughters, they are Macaria and Melinio. Issei, I see, and you want to see her more, right? Hades, you have no idea. Issei, don't worry, I'll talk to Demeter. Hades, thank you. Issei directly transported himself to Demeter, who was surprised to see him, but then scared by his gaze. Demeter, did I do something bad? Issei, not much, just getting in the way of Hades and Persephone's love. Demeter, but Issei, she loves him and you know that very well, because of you, you don't let her be happy. Demeter, I'm afraid he'll leave me alone like the others. Issei, that will never happen, you know he loves you. That's why I ask you as your older brother to let your daughter be happy. Demeter, it's okay. Issei, thank you very much, and I see that your domains are very good, only that humans damage it somewhat. Demeter, yes. Issei, I'll fix it. Issei snapped his fingers and all evils to nature disappeared. Issei, well, I'll go see Poseidon. Issei left again and saw in front of him a large castle under the sea and many mermaids. Issei, when he arrived at a giant golden door, he simply kicked the door. Poseidon, who dares to disturb the king of the seas? Issei, King my pants, what are you doing here? Poseidon, nervous, hello brother, hey nothing, they are here looking at my domains, you know. Issei, yes, but why are you in pajamas? And it was true, Poseidon was wearing pajamas and changed in the blink of an eye. Issei, very slow, well your domains are fine, it's just that there is a lot of pollution. Poseidon, yes I know, but I can't do much. Issei, okay, I'll take care of it. Issei snapped his fingers and all the plastic in the sea disappeared and the sick fish or animals began to heal. Issei, okay, that's it, I'm leaving. Issei left and decided to see what was happening with Hephaestus. He saw Hephaestus with a bow next to Athena and Artemis. Hephaestus, thank you very much, girls. Athena, why? Hephaestus, for helping me overcome Aphrodite. I don't know if I could overcome her alone. Artemis, don't cry, big guy, she doesn't deserve you, and I don't know, maybe and just maybe someone loves you. Hephaestus, who would love me? Artemis, you can't be a white-haired goddess, called the goddess of the moon. Hephaestus, Selene? Artemis gave herself a face palm and went to a corner with a cloud of negativity. Hephaestus, Did I do something wrong? Athena, nothing. At that Aphrodite came, seeing everyone there except Issei. Aphrodite, nervous, hello Hephaestus. Hephaestus, cold, hello goddess of love. Aphrodite was hurt by that, but she hid it very well. Athena, what do you want? Aphrodite, nothing, I just wanted to fix things with Hephaestus. Artemis, he doesn't want to fix anything. Hephaestus, I'll take care of it. Okay, what do you want? Aphrodite, I already said it. I know you won't forgive me, but at least I want to be your friend. You know how to keep the party in peace. Hephaestus, okay, guys. Face, yes, just friends. They hugged each other, but Hephaestus' body was covered in light, and he became an adult with black hair and brown eyes. Hephaestus, what happened to me? Athena, blush your face. Hephaestus goes to a puddle and looks, and he was fine. Hephaestus, wow. While Hephaestus looked at his face, the three women stared at each other. Artemisa, what do you want, Hitch? Aphrodite, I already said it, I want to be well with him and maybe in the future, you know. Athena, oh no, my friend, get yours. You don't know how many years I waited for this opportunity for it to be mine. Artemis, keep dreaming, he will be mine. Aphrodite, he was my husband, it's obvious that he still loves me, he's just hurt. Athena, we'll see, Hitch, maybe Ares and Anna will catch you. Aphrodite, I know I made a lot of mistakes, but I don't care if I have to wait until my immortal life goes out, I will always love him. Athena, we'll see. At that point Hephaestus appears and they begin to talk very calmly. Issei, you deserve it, champion. Issei went to the peak of the palace and saw his girlfriends and future partners there very relaxed. Issei, well, I think we're done here. Tomorrow there will be a meeting of all the gods and factions. We must talk about some issues. Hera, okay, tomorrow at noon I will organize a. Issei, thank you very much. Chapter 21, See You Never? Issei was waking up feeling more weight on his body than usual, and was surprised to see Evelyn and Violet sleeping with him next to his loved ones, but it left him blushing to see that they were naked. Issei stood up and went to prepare the food while waiting for his loves to come down. Time skip. After everyone ate, Issei informed everyone that he would make an announcement today, and they got ready. Issei stood in the middle of a pedestal as he watched all the leaders of each faction and gods. Issei, hello, first of all a pleasure. I invited you to a meeting to give some information. Well, first inform that this conference is being broadcast to all the gods of each different world. Well, I will inform you that I am retiring from my position as supervisor. Zeus, why? Issei, I did this for thousands of years. I want to rest and be with my partners, you know, have children or just be with her and hang out. Odin, who will oversee us? Issei, they will discover it in the future. He is my son, well, not totally by blood, but he is my son. His name is Naruto, is the reincarnation of the first Buddha, that is why he will be my successor. One day he will go to check his territories, so do not think that you will not suffer if he is lazy. Zeus, I think it's okay, you helped us from the beginning of everything, I think you deserve a break. Issei, it's good that you understand. Searches, but my sister, she loves you and many more. Issei, that doesn't interest me and you know it well, they decided to turn their backs on me, while I'm leaving. Issei was making a portal, but then he stops and opens his eyes in shock. At that point Gabriel, Penemu and Griselda hurriedly entered the room. Elohim, what's up, daughters? Gabriel, they are the girls. Searches, what happened to my sister? Griselda, they all broke a seal that radiated pure evil. At that the gods began to tremble, but Issei had his gaze down, and hatred could be seen in those eyes. Issei, those stupid ones, gods who listen to me, we are on red alert, take care of your homes and do not go alone to fight the enemy. At that the gods went to prepare for battle. Michael, what's wrong? Issei, someone very dangerous was released. Azazel, who? Issei, to all the primordials, my brothers. That left everyone in shock. Elohim, how did that happen, daughters? Gabriel, you will see. Narrated by Gabriel. When we saw Issei taking Evelyn and the Triaxa, we felt very helpless and cried. We went to Rias's house to be calm. Well, it was your old house. That place comforted us, and out of nowhere we heard a male voice and other female ones. They told us that if we freed them they would help us keep you forever. They only told us that they would have all the worlds for themselves, but we would stay with Issei. Narrated by Griselda. The three of us noticed a lot of evil and tried to convince them that it was a bad idea, but they didn't listen and went to free her. A portal opened and took them to what looked like a seal and told them that if they freed them. Narrated by Penemu. They would give us Issei forever. We just had to break the seal. They began to gather their power. Ophis united us all with the Great Red to give her our power, and Neo will multiply her power. We said no and came immediately. End of narration. Issei, congratulations, you three have brains, but they are crazy. Michael, what did they do? Elohim, they released the first gods. They became dark except for the firstborn. Issei was the only sane one of that entire group who did not succumb to evil. Zeus, in total there are 29 gods that were sealed because they could not be destroyed. Not even the creator of everything could destroy them. That is why they were sealed and more gods were born. The one in charge of taking care of us was Issei. Azazel, how powerful are they? Issei, they are at least a quarter of my total power. Azazel, and how much you showed us of your power? Issei, I showed them 0.05% of my power. Michael, how they broke the seal. Issei, it must have weakened when it slept, and without anyone sending it power it could have easily broken. In that a great current of power could be felt, and there were 14 boys and 15 girls. X, hello brother. Issei, how long, Matthias? Matthias, ha 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 ha, I'll finally kill you, damn it. Issei, that's what you said last time, and how did you end up, little brother? Matthias, damn. At that moment all of Issei's ex-harem entered. Rias, you said you wouldn't hurt him. Matthias, and what about that? Never believe in someone, ha ha ha. That's it. Matthias grabs Rias's neck. Matthias, you were one of the women who once were my brother's love, pathetic, ha 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 ha, I will kill you. Ex-girl, not necessary. The unknown girl in a quick movement cut off Rias's head and threw it at her brother, who screamed in horror at seeing that just as several portals opened showing many gods with armor or divine weapons. Matthias, what will you insects do? Fight against us, ha ha ha, don't make us laugh, die damn it. Matthias began to spit blood from his mouth, and saw behind him his sister who had just killed Rias with her hand piercing his lung. Matthias, why? Ex-girl, I won't let you guys get in the way of our goals again. At that the other 14 girls killed the others in a quick movement. Issei, why am I not surprised that they do this? After all, they lost their sanity a long time ago. Ex-girl, it's all because of you, Oni-chan. At that point all the girls began to absorb the power of their brothers that they killed, thus increasing their powers to double or triple. Z-girl, so those hitches were your partners. Don't you understand that they belong to us? Kill them. In that all of Issei's sisters quickly killed Issei's ex-harem, including Ophis and Alice, perished while looking into Issei's eyes, who only looked at them indirectly. The only ones who did not die were Gabriel, Penemu and Griselda. Ex-girl, after thousands of years we will be together again, brothers. But what happened to make Issei's sisters go crazy? All those doubts in the next chapter of Past Life. Chapter 22, Past Life. This is Issei's life when he was born, that is, when he was born as a god. In the beginning there was only darkness, cold, sad, fearful, but above all loneliness ruled. But after a time that cannot be calculated, a being appeared who woke up confused, looking around. He did not know what was happening, and he just limited himself to staying still without doing anything. But one day it occurred to him to create beings very similar to him, but not the same. So he got to work and created a planet full of life and began to create beings that in the future he called animals, but these were Pegasi, unicorns, incredible animals taken from the same human imagination. But he did not feel complete, and he thought about what to do, and it occurred to him to create beings in his image and likeness, and he did it. He created 99 beings of apparent age of 12 years. They grew up and formed a family, and so it passed generation after generation. The planet was fully populated, but they knew that one day the son of the Creator was going to come. And he told them his purpose and what it was, well, simple: to live peacefully, and that being soon decided to create more worlds full of life and gave them the mission of learning, and that's what they did. I created a school where they should study. I created teachers who would teach them. But one day he decided to create what his creations called Son, and he did. He created him with half of his power, and it was a great achievement, and he did not inform anyone about this and left him in the care of his first world. Being after so much time caring and creating without rest, I want to rest, and finally after eons this rest to wake up when the situation warrants it. Location: home of the firstborn. A little boy was seeing his adoptive parents, but they had nothing to do with parents because they mistreated him in favor of his brother Matthias. This was always like this since I could remember, because apparently Matthias was a prodigy, and most praised him thinking that he would be the chosen one for his great power, but in reality there was a total of 60 young people selected for the Perfect God project. This was about discovering the power of the Son of his Creator, and that's what they did, but nobody knew how Issei, if the Son of the Creator, had entered that project, which was an academy in a few words. But nobody knew how. Even his parents thought it was a joke because he never showed any power, but in the end they let him go because they really didn't want him around, and he would be like Matthias' slave. In their words, everyone won. Issei knew that when he grew up he would go to that school for geniuses among geniuses, but he didn't like the idea very much. After all the practical notes were made by Issei, and Matthias never did them. Issei met a child prodigy named Sunrong, a young woman from a prestigious family, and Issei, the black sheep of her family, became friends. But location: Issei's school. Issei was walking around looking for his only friend because according to Matthias everyone called him a hopeless pervert, although it was completely a lie because he is not interested in those things. When she arrived at her friend's classroom she didn't find anything and went to look for her in the infirmary because according to her friends she left there due to discomfort. When he wanted to play, he heard the voice of his brother and his friend. He wanted to listen a little, but what he heard was something that left him devastated, because it seems that Sunrong simply approached him at his brother's request. Sunrong, and tell me Matthias-kun when I will leave your stupid brother. Matthias, soon, honey, let's just wait for him to declare his love for you, and at that moment you humiliate him in front of everyone. I can already imagine his face full of despair. The two started laughing, but Issei decided to take off the necklace he had around his neck that had the initials honey on it. I don't know what it says there, but I imagined it means love or affection. Issei left him on the ground while crying and picked up the backpack he had and started walking home, but suddenly it started to rain heavily while he looked up at the sky and hid the tears he was letting out, and no one paid attention to him. Sunrong left the infirmary but stepped on something, and when she picked him up she realized something and opened her eyes in shock, but she told her brother everything, although she unknowingly felt her heart ache, but she decided to ignore it. Time skip one day. Issei just woke up, but his eyes had less shine. When he went down to prepare food for everyone, he saw his brother and began to make fun of him, but he simply ignored him until Matthias punched him, causing him to drop the plate he was holding. The noise woke up his parents, and as always Matthias lied to them, making them hit Issei for no reason. Issei finished making the food and walked away as always, looking around and thinking what he did to deserve this. When he arrived at the entrance of his school, everyone started to make fun of him, because it seems that they made public the news that Sunrong was Matthias' girlfriend and that they used him as a simple toy. When he arrived he saw Sunrong laughing at him, but he ignored her, causing her heart to ache in an inexplicable way according to her. A few months passed and everything got worse because now he was the traitor of the school because he leaked all the information about the sports teams that had annual competitions. They treated him like scum and nobody did anything about it. Even his parents beat him for being useless and a traitor. But he met a new teacher. He thought that someone would finally recognize him. Her name was Issei Chabashira. He was one of the few people who appreciated Issei, but he would suffer another betrayal. But how? Well. Flashback. Issei was very happy despite being beaten and hated by everyone. It made his day to see his teacher, the only one who defended her from all that. But he was heading to the living room to see her, but when he entered she was very angry. Issei entered and greeted her with all the energy in the world, but she hit him. Issei touched his cheek all red. Issei, why? Issei, why? Angry, and you still ask? Damn. I approached you with the intention that Matthias would notice me, but despite all my efforts nothing happens, and all because you are useless. At that moment Issei summoned his spiritual weapon, which was a large mallet. She began to beat Issei brutally until he was unconscious and took him to a special place where she would make him suffer. Issei woke up and realized he was in a hotel but tied hand and foot. But he saw his teacher in very provocative lingerie, but he ignored it and just limited himself to crying in silence. Issei, I know you love me, you useless bastard, so what better way to torture me than to make you watch me get bucked, ha ha ha. At that moment several men entered, and you already know what happened. Then the same men tortured Issei until he was half dead. The next day Issei woke up in a garbage dump full of blood and went to wash in the fountain and went to school. Of course he had blood on his clothes, but nobody cared. When the class of his teacher who tortured him yesterday arrived, he thought that she showed him the video where she tortured him, and that's why she announced that she was Matthias's girlfriend, but Issei didn't care at all, and the whole class dedicated themselves to looking out the window. Little by little Issei's poor life became the same hell, because now the teachers called him a rapist because according to Issei he tried to rape her, making him give 10 times more homework, but he did it without difficulty. End flashback. That was Issei's routine, but now everything would change thanks to a single person who would soon also leave him more broken than before, breaking him more and more. Issei was very happy because he met a girl through social media and introduced himself as best as possible, and when he arrived he saw in his words a goddess who would soon fall to madness. Her name was Lucia Lopez, but to her friends she was Luz. They left her aside and were afraid of her just because of her strange eyes. But Issei didn't care, and they became a couple shortly after, until one day Issei invited her to his house to see each other, but he was sent to buy things and left. Lucia entered the house and introduced herself, but Matthias looked at her with lust, and you already know what happened. And so Lucia came to his house more often, but Issei left very quickly because he was ordered, or he didn't have time because of his work. Until one day Issei returned early from his part-time job because they remodeled the place. Issei began to hear moans and thought it would be his brother and his new conquest, but he heard his girlfriend's voice. He was very scared and decided to take a look, and when he entered he saw his girlfriend on top of his brother. He saw how his brother noticed this and gave him a superior look. After she left without being dressed, Matthias entered his brother's room seeing him crying. Matthias, I see you crying. I'll tell you something, she's very good in bed, and I'll tell you something better. Every time she came it wasn't for you, it was just to have sex with me, ha ha ha, don't you find that funny? At that moment Matthias left Issei's room while he remembered every moment, while something was born from Issei's heart, all that evil was accumulating. The next day Issei went to school and everyone booed him, or insulted him, but when he saw his girlfriend run where he passed her aside. Lucia, tell me what's wrong with you so you can ignore me. Issei, I know everything. Lucia was scared but thought it was something else. Lucia, what do you know? Issei, everything, this is yours. Issei gave her a bracelet with a heart and left while Lucia stood there without reacting. Issei became the coldest and did not react to bullying or anyone. He seemed like an empty shell until one day he left school but saw one of the people who hit him the most, and that was an idol who hated him. Her name was Esther, a woman who hated Issei for being perverted and many more reasons. She was crossing the street without paying attention, and Issei saw how a car was about to run her over. Everyone saw this with fear, even Esther saw her life pass before her eyes. But out of nowhere she nodded a hand pushing her, and she saw the boy that she always humiliates, and the streets giving his life to save her, and then Issei flew out and crashed into a wall, cracking the. Everyone got scared and wanted to help him. Issei was simply bleeding from his forehead and a little from his eye. He stood up and told them to get away from him, and it started to rain. Thunder was heard indicating that there would be a big storm, and everyone saw how the blood was diluted by the water that fell on Issei. and he began to faint but continued walking even so despite the pain. His ex wanted to go help him but did not have enough courage to look him in the face. The entire school stared at Issei as he walked despite those wounds and in the rain, and he stood looking at the static sky and stayed like that until an ambulance was called indicating that he fainted standing up. Time skip 1 month. Issei was unconscious, but inside his mind he was reliving his whole life thinking what he did to deserve this. But everything went black and he saw in front of him someone very similar to the worst with black eyes and red pupils and a smile full of fangs. Issei, who are you? X, I'm you. Issei, huh? X, I am you, what you really are. I am your pain, your loneliness, your sorrow, your hate, ha ha ha. Issei, I have no hatred. X, that's why you don't, but I have everything. When you know my name we will be one, or so I hope, ha ha ha. Issei, I don't want to be like you, I'm happy like this. X, happy? With whom? Or it's true you're alone and nobody loves you or values you, you're just scum. I'll give you some of our power, you'll suffer some changes. Issei opened his eyes, surprising the nurses who were there because according to the doctor, he would not wake up for at least a year. Issei looked to his side and the nurses blushed at his new appearance. Then the doctor came in and was surprised but began to examine him. From now on Issei will speak monotonously. Issei, how much time passed? Doctor, 1 month. Boy, you surprised me. A normal person would have died with that. Your skull was fractured and caused a hemorrhage in the brain, more specifically in the left hemisphere, the least developed. I suppose that increased your abilities or your cells adapted to survive and adapt that appearance. Many nurses saw you a lot. If it weren't for me you would have been raped a long time ago. I envy you even though I'm married, ha ha ha. Issei, I understand, I'm fine, can I go? Doctor, you're fine, but for safety reasons, don't push yourself too hard, okay? Issei, okay doctor, did someone visit me? Doctor, sad, unfortunately nobody came, sorry boy. Issei, don't feel sorry, what I hate the most is pity. Issei changed into some clothes that a nurse left, and went from there to his house and everything was as usual, and he went straight to his room and took out his change of clothes and all the money he saved and left there without being noticed by his parents, but by Matthias, who looked at him with hatred. Time skip 1 day. Issei got up and after so long he saw himself in the mirror and was slightly surprised. He went to school and everyone looked at him with sadness and regret, but he decided to ignore it. In class he learned that teacher Issei retired from school the week he was admitted to the hospital. In addition to discovering that the school infiltrators were 2 of the friends of their main bullying. Issei at recess was sitting in the shade of a tree, but it started to rain, but he did nothing, he kept eating in the rain, and everyone saw him very sad, so much was the damage. When he entered the school he saw his principal bully standing in front of him. He did nothing but grab his shoulder, and as a reaction he grabbed him and hit him against the lockers. Issei, I'm not in the mood today, Yato. Yato, I know, sorry, I know the whole truth, I just wanted to say, sorry for everything I did. Issei let go of him, and walked away while Yato watched him leave with regret in his eyes. After that Issei and Yato became very good friends to the point of calling each other brothers. But after a long time it finally happened, and when he had grown up at the age of 16 he would go to that academy. Issei knew that his power was now very great, far surpassing that of his brother Matthias. When he entered the doors of the institution he saw his brother of everything but blood, Yato, with a smile. Apparently he was also assigned. Then he saw in front of him 2 large, handsome guys. Subject 1, hello friend, since you are small, how about we protect you? Subject 2, yes, but that costs a lot. Yato, get out of here you idiots. At that point a fire spell separated them, and an unknown girl was seen covered by smoke. X, I will not allow you to abuse these poor people. Subject 1, and who are you? X, I am the great Sun Rong and I will not allow these poor people to be abused. Both subjects left because they recognized that prodigy of the arts of sorcery, but when she turned to see those she rescued she opened her eyes in shock and some tears appeared when she saw Issei. All the people praised her for what she did or her beauty. Issei simply looked at her indifferently, and handed her $100 bill. Issei, this is for your protection, miss, see you later. Yato looked at Sunrong seriously as Issei told him his whole life story, and he accompanied him while Sunrong developed a very grim smile and his aura turned dark. Sunrong, I finally found you, my cute Issei. Issei walked with Yato to the only class in that entire great institution. Yato, doesn't it affect you to see her? Issei, why should I? Yato, you know. Issei, not at all, it just makes me feel sorry to see her. I'm not interested in her life. I'm not interested in knowing about her. The best thing is that we continue as simple strangers. Yato simply looked at Issei trying to see if he was lying, but everything he said was pure truth. When Issei entered the classroom he was surprised because it was giant, but what surprised him the most but he did not show it was that the teacher who taught was Chabashira, his former teacher and platonic love of his old school. Besides that, he simply ignored her completely, and went to the back of the room with Yato while C followed them with his gaze, but it hurt him to see Issei's dead eyes. C, finally it will be just you and me and nada, ha ha ha. C started laughing a little out of his mind until the other students arrived. Be it a pleasure to meet you young people. I will be your witchcraft teacher. I will teach you everything important and practical. Another teacher will take care of it. Please, I do not like disobedient people in my class. With that in mind, let's begin. Issei simply ignored her, but he was a little upset that Sunrong was sitting in front of him. I didn't care, but all the men looked at him wanting to kill him. This continued until class ended and they went to recess. Issei went with Yato to recess. When they walked in a desolate hallway they saw each room. They were surprised because this building had everything of the latest generation to teach. Until Sunrong was in front of the two of them. Sunrong, you can leave us alone. Yato, you have to get over your past, bro, don't do anything stupid. Yato left, but he sent a murderous look to Sunrong, but he ignored him. Issei, what do you want, miss? Sunrong, why are you talking to me so coldly? Am I your best friend or have you forgotten me? Issei, I'm sorry to tell you that she is not my friend. Maybe in the past she was, but now I see her as another classmate, so I prefer to keep our relationship as just that. Issei started to walk away, but Sunrong held his arm very tightly while her hair covered her eyes. Sunrong, is it because of what I did? Issei. Sunrong, if that's why, I swear I did it to be more popular. Issei, and? That doesn't interest me. I'm not interested in knowing about you, and you shouldn't care about my opinion either. After all, I'm just useless. Goodbye. Issei began to leave, but Sunrong stood still while her aura, which was a very beautiful pink, turned black and everything around her began to deteriorate. Sunrong, you don't care, ha 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 ha, don't you love me anymore? No, impossible, if you're just hurt, that must be it. I will heal you, my cute Issei. I don't care how long it lasts, but you will be under my feet, and if any hitch comes near you, they will suffer a sad ending, ha 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 ha. If there was someone in that hallway, they would be shaking with fear because of that aura and the crazy laughter that could be heard. Issei was with Yato telling him what happened. Yato, woo! You really drive her crazy, ha ha ha. Issei, it's not funny. Besides, I'm not interested in love, you know. I'm afraid of suffering again. Yato, you shouldn't close the doors of your heart. How about a beautiful girl who truly loves you looking for you? I'm just saying that you should never say no to love. If you suffer because of it, just ignore that pain and let it make you stronger. Issei, I'll think about it. At that point the bell rang and everyone headed to the practice room. When they arrived, they saw someone who surprised many, but Issei simply disliked her. She was his mother, but he disliked how she looked at him with such lust. Wait, lust? Well, let's go back in time after Issei broke up with his girlfriend. Flashback. 2 days passed since Issei discovered his ex-girlfriend with his brother, and his mother for the first time saw him and decided to ask what was going on. Hitomi, son, what's wrong with you? Issei was surprised by who was speaking to him, but he was so devastated that he decided to tell him everything. His mother didn't believe him but remembered how Matthias came with Issei's girlfriend very often and connected the dots. After that their relationship improved a lot, until one day Hitomi discovered her now ex-husband with another woman in her bed, she threw him out on the street, and that day he drank too much. When Issei arrived at night from work, he saw his mother very drunk and wanted to take her to his bed to sleep. The two of them were alone because Matthias went with some friends to a party. "Hitomi, what did I do to deserve this?" "Issei, you've mistreated me for as long as I can remember, but those are just my thoughts, nothing, just rest." Issei wanted to go to his room, but his mother pulled him and made him lie down with her. "Hitomi, don't leave me, I'm sure you want to leave me too." "Issei, I just want to sleep in my room." "Hitomi, from today this is your room, do you understand?" "Issei, but..." "Hitomi, you understand." Issei was afraid because his father was nobody, and his mother was one of the best sorceresses in the world. "Issei, okay." Issei slept with her, and the next day she apologized but told him that if he could sleep with her because she felt lonely. Little by little the motherly love went away and was replaced by a love of a couple, but not a normal one, a crazy one. She became very toxic. She did not let him go anywhere, causing him to be fired from one of his jobs, but one day she came home drunk, too much, and Issei was sleeping very deeply. You know what happened. Issei lost his chastity that day, but he thought she would regret it. But no, she enjoyed it, and it became his routine to be raped by her. When the accident happened, he asked her why she didn't visit him, but she said she went back to her father. "Issei, why didn't you visit me while I was almost dying?" "Hitomi, I just went back to my man. He explained to me that what happened was an accident." "Issei, do you really think so? Are you blind or something? He doesn't love you, open your eyes." At that Hitomi slapped him. "Hitomi, don't talk about your father like that, and I only used you because I was stressed." "Issei, I'm leaving." "Hitomi, huh?" "Issei, I know you will use me even though my father is with you. I know how you are. You always promise to stop doing that to me, but you never do. I will not live like this. I am leaving." Issei left and started packing his things. "Hitomi, where are you going to go now? You have nothing and no one, or you'll go to your friend's boars. Or if you don't have anything, why are you a failure? You have no one." Issei just kept packing to leave. "Hitomi, desperate, I'm pregnant." Issei stood still. "Issei, you lie." "Hitomi, I can see my belly." "Issei, I can't find any life in your belly. You see, you keep lying, and I don't care what you think. This is over. From today I leave this stupid hell. I asked you 1,000 times to stop, but you never listened to me, and I'm not an object of pleasure until never." End flashback. This is how Issei finally distanced himself from his family and broke the only bond that tied him there. "Hitomi, nice to meet you. I'll be your teacher in everything physical and magical. I hope we get along well." Hitomi looked into Issei's eyes as she licked her lips. "Hitomi, you thought you would get away from me. You will be mine again, my beautiful Sochi." Issei looked at Hitomi with distrust. Yato didn't know what to do because Issei never told him how he left his house, and he didn't like to talk about the subject. 4,250 words, well, I'll do it in 2 parts. The next one will be the last one, where I'll tell how her life was, and you'll already know that all the ones you mention are Issei's sisters. Because soon you'll know how the MILFs became young and why they are called brothers, in addition to putting the quintuplets in the harem. But you won't like how they went crazy, because these will end up breaking poor Issei. Chapter 23, What I Am, What We Are. Today was a new day, and as always Issei woke up from his new apartment that existed specifically for the students. Today was a normal day, of course, if your mother, teacher, and all your acquaintances saw you as a simple prey. Today was a normal practice day, but he didn't show his full potential. He saw everything boring. Time skip 1 month. Today was a strange day. Neither her teacher nor her mother were there. At that, the project director came in. "Director, young people, I regret to say that both teachers, both practical and theoretical, had some family problems, and today there will be new teachers, and today 2 new students are also entering." "Student X, why are there new ones coming in? Not that everyone was already selected." "Direct, but due to the disappearance of 2 students, and these students were recommended by the teachers. Welcome the niece of teacher Hitomi. Her name is Akeno Tamaki." Issei was surprised to see it was the portrait of his mother as a teenager. Director, and teacher Issei's niece, she's Horikita. Director, and the new teachers will be Mizusu, her new teacher, it is theory. Director, and the practice teacher is Miss Chisato Asegawa. Everyone paid attention and the male people were dying for tremendous beauties, even Yato. The only one who did not change his expression was Issei. And why? Well, the new ones weren't interested, but the teachers, let's say, had a very similar past with Issei. The new students sat behind Issei, but he didn't pay attention to them until it was recess. He was about to leave but was intercepted by both women. Issei, what do you want? Akeno. Be you well, my aunt told me a lot about you, and since I don't know anything I would like you to show us the place. Horikita. Yes, my aunt also spoke highly of you. She said that you were not perverted or anything like that. Issei. Very well, follow me. Issei was leaving, but Sunrong looked at both new ones with deathly eyes and a smile that would scare the bravest. Issei was showing each room, place, etc. so they could get their bearings and everything. Issei. This is the cafeteria. Well, here the turns. I'm going to eat. Issei went to sit next to Yato but was followed by both new ones. Issei, what are you doing? Horikita, we don't know anyone and you are very reliable. Issei simply ignored them and they all started eating. It was already leaving and Issei went to his room, but they were focused on the new one's room. Both women were organizing some things until Akeno spoke. Akeno, was it necessary? Horikita, yes, and very much so. Aren't you happy that I'm talking to you again, that I'm not looking at you with resentment? Akeno, but what if the effect disappears? Horikita, he won't, and you know it well, that's why we did that spell, or forget it. Hitomi. Flashback. Hitomi and Issei were talking until someone brought up a sensitive topic. Hitomi, and why are you here? Issei, work. Hitomi, it's not that and you know it well, my son told me everything. How did you do that to him knowing his feelings? Issei simply gritted her teeth in rage as she remembered that. Issei, I was very stupid and conceited. Hitomi, yes, what are you looking for? Issei, same as you, come back. A niece arms and start a family. Hitomi, you know it's impossible, he will never forgive us for all the harm we did to him. After that talk, they both agreed to share Issei but if they helped each other, but there was no progress, and that made them even more desperate until one day and they couldn't stand it any longer when they saw how two students talked to their Issei and gave him a kiss on the cheek. Location, Issei's home. Hitomi, why did you bring me here? Issei, you know we lose it more and more. Hitomi, sad, yes I know. Issei, that's why I found something that can help us. Issei started to go to the basement, and Hitomi accompanied her. When he arrived he saw in front of him two women who touched his own, both crucified. Hitomi, what are they doing here? Issei, I investigated and found a spell, it will return us to our old age, we will absorb the youth of both and we will be that age. This is my plan, we rejuvenate to Issei's age, then we say that we are busy or we have business. When two students are missing they will need replacements, and there we enter, you and I. We recommend ourselves with false names and that's it, we start from scratch. Hitomi, but what will happen to them? Issei, do you really care? After trying to take away what's ours. Issei gave a knife to Hitomi. Issei, you decide. Hitomi had the knife shaking but she remembered how they talked and kissed and her fear disappeared and her gaze turned dark and with a quick movement she began to stab a girl, while the blood covered her she began to laugh maniacally. End flashback. They finished the spell and just as Issei said the plan went well. Akeno, but how does he discover us? Horikita simply lit a cigarette and started smoking it. Horikita, we just have to pretend and gain their trust, that's all. Time skip. Issei became friends with Aki and Horikita without suspecting anything until today the director called him. Issei went to the address and met a man and the director. Issei, what do you want, Mr. Director? Director, hello Issei, well I would like to introduce you to Maruo Nakano, He is a family man and his daughters are a disaster in theory, and since you are one of the best, I would like to know if you could help them. Issei, I'm sorry to say that I'm not interested. Issei was about to leave, but the man caught his attention. Muru, I will pay you. I know you have little financial support, and you do not have enough money that the school provides you. This is the deal. You help them and I will pay you depending on their progress. What do you say? Issei thought about it for a while and shook hands with Muru. When Issei left the office, his friends asked him questions and he answered calmly. Of course, both women knew who he was talking about and they didn't like him approaching them, but they couldn't behave or they would give suspicion. Time skip one day. Today Issei had woken up and changed. Usually this Saturday he would be rested, but from today he would start his tutor work. When he arrived at a street he was a little surprised. It was a big house, not so exaggerated but it was big. When he entered, a girl with pink hair opened the door for him. Ichika, who are you? Issei, hello, I'm your tutor. Ichika, aren't you very young? Issei, yes I am, can I come in? Ichika barred the door, and she led him into a room where there were 4 other women. Issei, this was not part of the deal. Hello, nice to meet you. From today I will be your new tutor. My name is Issei, just Issei. Nino, why do we need a tutor? Issei, ask your father. Well, Mr. Mura told me that there is a study room. I'll see you in 5 minutes. I'll organize some things. The 5 girls, when Issei left, gathered together. Nino, is he trustworthy? Miku, I don't know, but if our father trusts him, he'll be fine, I guess. Yatsuba, even though I hate to admit it, we need help, otherwise we will be expelled if we don't improve, and he is one of the most dedicated. Itsuki, do you know him? Yatsuba, you don't? They all shook their heads. Yatsuba, he is the quiet one at school, the genius in theory. Nobody knew what he was talking about. Yatsuba, the one who rejected Sun Rome. They were all surprised by that fact. Miku, so it's the Nino, yes, but I imagine him stronger, more muscular or something like that. Issei entered the room where they were talking. Issei, the material is ready, please come. After that day Issei and the 5 became very good friends, or so Issei thought. Issei was returning to his apartment with Yato, and lay down on the bed and sighed. Yato, what happened to you? Issei, it's hard to be a teacher, especially if they're like that, but I'm not complaining. Issei's cell phone started ringing and he saw that Mr. Muro was calling him. Issei, yes sir, what do you want? Muro, hello Issei, well I would like to ask you a favor. Issei, what favor? Muro, well I want you to bring them. They went to a party with their friends or I don't know, but I would like someone I trust to bring them. Issei, no problem, where is it? Muro gave him an address and Issei put on casual clothes to go out and look for her. Yato, take care. Issei, why? Yato, a feeling. Issei went out to walk to look for her, but there were black clouds, indicating a bad omen. Issei arrived at a luxurious bar for strawberry children or something like that. He quickly entered and went to look for them until he found them with some kids talking. He approached but heard something that left him shattered again, and his mind fragmented once more, and there were 1 or 2 steps left for his sanity to finish fragmenting. Boy 1. And tell me what relaxation you have with that weakling. Nino, relationship? Ha ha ha, we only use it to learn, we don't even consider it friends. Boy 2. Poor boy, ha ha ha, and tell me what you do when you no longer need him. Itsuki, easy, we will tell you the whole truth about how we use it. Miku, you should see his face when he's with us, he says we're like family, how inept. Author, it hurts a lot to write this and you don't know how the soul burns, but it is for the good of the Andra harem. Boy 4, it won't be necessary anymore, look behind your back, ha ha. The girls, not knowing what they were referring to, turned around and saw Issei with a look so cold that it scared them a little. Yatsuba, Aikun is not what he seems. Issei, don't worry, Miss Yatsuba-san. Our relationship is only between teacher and students. You shouldn't be interested in my emotions. Miku, it's not what it seems. Issei, I'm sorry to say that I don't trust you, I only came at your father's request. He says it's too late for you to be here. Please follow me. The girls followed him as he tried to explain, but he just ignored them the whole way. Issei called a car and everyone was sitting. Ichika, we can explain it. Issei, it is not necessary. I know how you see me and what I am to you. I would appreciate it if we respected our professional relationship. They tried to explain, but Issei simply ignored them. Issei left them and went to talk to Mr. Maru. When they finished talking, Issei left and Maru simply looked at his daughters with disappointment. Nino, I won't cry for that idiot, and what does it matter if we see him like that? He's just an employee. I won't cry for his forgiveness. He should ask us for forgiveness. The others just nodded and cheered up. At that moment, a heavy rain began to hit the city. Issei walked calmly while looking at the sky and hiding his tears. Issei, it started to rain. Time skipped 2 days. Today was Monday and everyone went back to school and the sisters went to look for their new friends and almost boyfriends, but they found them talking to someone. It was Sun Rong who gave them a check with an unknown amount of money. Nino, what are you guys doing? Boy 4, don't you see, charging for the favor we did for him? Miku, please? Boy 5, guys, there's no need to hide it anymore. You guys are really stupid. You think we're approaching you because we're friends or something. Boy 2, we approached because she hired us to cheer her up and clear her path. The girls had tears in their eyes. Itsuki, but all those nice words were nothing but lies. Boy 3, yes, stupid, ha ha ha, let's go, we're done here. The boys left, leaving Sun Rong and the sisters in that place. Miku, why? Sun Rong, hey? Miku, why separate ourselves from him and take him away from us? Sun Rong, isn't it obvious? Because of love. Itsuki, love? Sun Rong, yes, I made a serious mistake with him and that's why he rejects me, but I know that he is just hurt and looking for company to heal himself and you were in the way of my plans. You would have reached his pure heart, and I would never allow that ever. That's why I decided to use some methods that no one would approve of, but in war and love everything is worth it, ha ha ha. Sun Rong left the 5 girls there in pieces, and they did not go to class but straight to their house in tears. When they arrived they locked themselves in their rooms until lunch when they all came out. Miku, girls, what if we try to fix it? Itsuki, what? Miku, things, if we explain things to him maybe he will forgive us. They all agreed and went to wash and change into their best clothes to wait for him to come, but he did not arrive. Minutes passed, then hours, and it was already night, sitting there in their study place, and when their father arrived they went directly to him. Nino, father, what happened to Ikuin? Maru, he gave up. I never thought that of you, rejecting a good boy just because of some pretty faces. Your mother would be ashamed of you. Maru left that room and went to his bedroom to sleep while the quintuplets stayed there still without moving a muscle, and the first to fall to the ground and start crying was Miku. Then one after the other they began to kneel and fall to the ground in a sea of tears. 2 weeks passed since that incident, and they were absent from all those classes. But today, after a week, they agreed to regain his trust and put on makeup and everything to try to win him over. But there was no progress, and he always ignored them. They began to study to be at the top and be with Issei everywhere. They followed him as stalkers, but they often fought with Akeno and Horikita for getting in their way. Not constant, Issei became cold towards them, but he became friends with 2 very friendly girls according to him. They were Tatsumaki, a very good user of her object control ability. Tatsumaki's sister, Fubuki, was not as good a user as her sister, but she was still very prodigious in her ability. And finally her last friend Takagi, a master of pranks. They became very good friends with Issei, but today was their day of displays of power where each one would show their skills. Little by little everyone passed. The quintuplets humiliated their rivals just like Takagi, Fubuki, Tatsumaki, Akeno, Horikita, her ex Lucia, Esther and Yato. But it was his turn to fight, but against his brother Matthias. Matthias, hello brother. Issei just stood firm and paid no attention to her. Matthias, you won't talk? Then I will humiliate you in front of everyone as I always did. At that the fight began and Matthias began to attack while speaking and Issei only limited himself to dodging. Matthias, tell me, how does it feel to have all the women you love taken away from you, huh? All those hitches I bucked, your girlfriend, even the 3 teachers you loved, all 3 of them left you just for me, huh? Those words shocked the spectators, but they left Horikita, Issei, Chisato, Mizusu, Lucia, and Sunrong with a bad taste in their mouths. Issei, I'm not interested in them, and you should know that. Issei continued to dodge and ignore all of Matthias' insults. Matthias, stop dodging, damn you! Issei took advantage of that moment, and to everyone's surprise he knocked out Matthias with a blow to the back of the neck. Issei was about to leave, but Matthias stood up and used a spell that was aimed at Takagi for being the weakest. Issei stepped in the middle and took the shot to his body as a cloud of dust. When the dust disappeared, Issei had a hollow in his shoulder but nothing more. Both teachers took Issei to the infirmary and incidentally talked a little. Mizusu, how are you, Issei? Issei just ignored her as always. Mizusu, I know I did wrong, but... Issei, let's leave our relationship as teacher and student. The same goes for you, Chisato-sensei. Issei, when they bandaged him, left there and went to look for his friends. But when he arrived he saw a scene that ended up destroying him, and his mind was finally shattered. She saw how her last 3 friends were kissing other boys, and among them was Matthias kissing Takagi. Issei just started to turn around but was noticed by the 3 who broke away from that kiss. Takagi, Issei-kun is not what he seems. Takagi turned around with tears in his eyes and slapped Matthias. Takagi, it hurt you, damn it, why are you kissing me now? What will he think? What happened? Well, it's simple. They were waiting for Issei, but they cornered them and kissed them by force, and that's all. Evening. Issei was in his bed crying, but he returned to that black place that he had not seen for years, and on his forehead there was a shadow. I see that you finally accept our side. Issei, shut up, you never get tired of butting into my life. Yo, well, let me introduce myself. I'm Shadow Issei, or you can call me Alaster. Issei, I can't stand it anymore. Alaster, and tell me, I can remove all the damage you have, just let's be one. Issei was hesitant to accept or not, but in the end he shook Alaster's hand and a glow covered them, and there was only Issei, but his gaze was empty. Issei, so this is what it feels like to be one. Time skip 1 month. This month Issei became very cold and did not talk to anyone unless it was Horikita, Akeno and Yato, but with the others he was very cold. But today the real chaos would begin. Issei and his 3 friends were walking until Horikita and Akeno received a message on their cell phones that made them open their eyes and dilate their pupils. Yato, what did you see? Akeno, my mom is better. Horikita, if you come with me. Horikita, yes, see you later, Issei-kun. The boys looked at her very strangely, but the 2 of them went to a class where 15 girls were gathered, and in the center was Sunrong looking at everyone coldly. Horikita, why did you call us? Sunrong, stop pretending, Horikita, or should I say Issei-sensei. At those words Horikita froze. Sunrong, let's just say you should hide your tracks better, as a magic signature was a very easy thing for someone like me, and I gathered you all here for a reason. Esther, what do I have to do here? Sunrong, you remember the boy you humiliated, and in the end he almost gave his life for you, to save you, but how are you going to forget him if you spy on him every day but you are afraid that he will reject you? Esther's pupils were dilated. Esther, how? Sunrong, everyone here has feelings for one person, and that love led us to do crazy things, didn't it? No one spoke. It was true that they all loved Issei and did some things that they did not regret doing. Sunrong, this is the deal. Yotsuba, and that interests you. If we kill you, nothing will come to light. What makes you think that we will follow you? You cause him to move away from us. Sunrong, easy. I have a plan for Issei to be only ours forever, and his case is unfortunate, but it was his fault to fall for those lies. Well, this is the plan, or someone wants to leave. Nobody spoke. There was only eternal silence. Sunrong, I see that you are all determined. Well, as you know, at the end of the year there will be 30 students qualified for the project, and of them 15 will be women, the same number of us. That is why I want us all to make an effort and reach the final stretch. As you know, at the end of the event, to choose the best one, we will open battles, and there we enter. We kill the obstacles and we take it very far. Akeno, where will we go? Sun Rome, we will go to another world through the portal there. Note, here it is like a portal that connects to the other worlds and travels between them. Sun Rome, tell me, will you help me get what belongs to us and was taken away from us by past mistakes? Sun Rome extended his hand to everyone. Little by little they took Sun Rome's side. The only ones missing were Tatsumaki, Fubuki, and Takagi. Akeno, girls, I know it scares you, but it's because of him. Takagi approached in fear but gave Akeno his hand. Then it was Fubuki and finally Tatsumaki. Time skip end of year. Today was the last day of school, and as Sun Rong said, the 15 were selected for the project and the 15 boys were also selected, but they were not relevant. The only bad thing is that Yato did not qualify, but he went to see the power exhibition. The girls fought last. First there would be a men's fight. Everything was not so interesting except the ending where it was Matthias against Issei. Matthias, now I'll humiliate you in front of everyone. Issei just looked at him coldly without showing any facial expression. Matthias, angry at not responding, went straight away and summoned his spiritual weapon, a normal sword, without much to say. Issei just dodged since he still didn't know how to use his spiritual weapon. Issei continued to dodge and make a fool of his brother. But when Issei was about to hit Matthias's neck, he felt like a sealing spell was stopping him. At that point, feathers began to fall from the sky and everyone fainted. Few remained safe. Among them were the 14 other children selected for the project. Issei was trying to find out where that spell came from, but then another spell was activated, starting to slow down his magic and leaving him weak. At that point he noticed that 15 girls were starting to approach him. Issei, Akeno, help me. Issei was kneeling out of exhaustion, but he received no response until he saw how everyone was looking at him with a very malicious smile. Akeno, I'm sorry Ikun, but we're doing this for your own good. Issei. He didn't understand, but he saw how Surong approached him with a sleep spell. He was about to be put to sleep if it weren't for the fact that a sword was placed in front of him. It was a katana and Issei deduced that it was his. Issei grabbed the sword and the spell dissolved, and then a sword larger than his katana landed on my back. Issei, what good weapons! Issei stood on guard to start attacking, but needless to say Issei with his power destroyed them. Issei, after leaving everyone on the floor badly injured, was about to leave, but then he felt the power grow enormously, and he went and saw Sun Rong grab a sphere that represented a world. Issei, what are you planning? Sun Rong, have you at all costs? Sun Rong took the sphere and began to absorb it. Issei worried about that world and ran trying to stop her, but he was too late. Then the other girls did the same, making them have enough power, worrying Issei. But in the center Matthias had a sword, a sacred object that increases your abilities greatly but takes half of your life. Matthias, you obey me. Matthias used the sword and nailed it to the ground, creating a shock wave. The other 12 boys selected for the project had their eyes light up purple and their power grew as well, but not as much as the girls. Issei stood on guard, but 29 against 1, and his power was enormous. Issei ended up on the ground very badly injured and was about to be killed by his brother. The other girls were waiting for the exact moment to kill the boys as they pretended to be controlled by Matthias. Issei saw how he was about to be killed, but out of nowhere everything turned white, and in front of him was a young man playing on a console. Issei, hello? Who are you? The being turned around and was surprised to see him, and gave him a big hug. Issei, why did you do that? Why do I believe you, son? Issei didn't understand anything, but then the young man explained everything to him. Issei, I understand, but what happened to the worlds they consumed? They perished, their chip was unfortunately consumed. Issei, I understand, and what do I do now? I don't have enough power to defeat. Don't worry, I'll unleash your potential. The young man touched his forehead and Issei's body still emanated brilliance, and showed a new appearance. Issei, I feel great. Go, son, I'm sure they need help. Issei left that place and found himself in the same position about to be killed, but a glow blinded everyone and Issei's appearance was seen. Issei, well, let's fight again. Issei quickly knocked out the men. Only the women were missing. Sun Rong, Issei, you forced us to do this. Sun Rong began to accumulate all her power, and everyone took her side and began to fight. Their fight was so brutal that it caused the climate to change and the center of the planet to become unstable due to so much magic. Issei continued fighting, but at this rate he would lose. Then he heard his sword speak to him. He was surprised, but he paid attention to what they told him. In the end, Issei was with some injuries and all the girls were on the ground very badly injured. Issei, this is over. Sun Rong, if I don't have you, you won't belong to anyone. Sun Rong in a desperate act threw all his power into the core of the planet. Issei, don't do it! Sun Rong did not listen to him and caused the planet to start shaking and puddles of lava to come out of the ground, destroying the city. Issei, why? Sun Rong, if you are not mine, you will not belong to anyone, we will all die. Issei in a desperate act sent his power to the planet so that it would not explode, but he felt a knife in his stomach, and it was Matthias who looked at him with a very twisted smile. Matthias, today I will kill you, little brother. Matthias was about to pierce his heart, but Yato got in the way and Issei saw everything in slow motion, and when Yato's body fell to the ground he stopped sending power and began to brutally beat Matthias, leaving him disfigured. In that, Issei knew that they would survive after all. They consumed worlds. That's why Issei in his last breath sealed them just like them. In that, the planet exploded. Location: White Void. Issei was in front of his creator and father. Issei, what happened? Everyone died, that happened, even you, but your soul didn't disappear, they survived. Issei, and what am I doing here? I have a mission for you. I have created a new universe full of variants, and this one will have gods, but I need you to guide them on the right path. Issei, okay, I would like to do it. Along the way you lose all your coldness and get to know your swords. Issei, I like the idea, I accept. That's good, son, I know you will guide them. Chapter 24, The Beginning of the End. Note: if you wonder why they are called brothers, it is because in the anime The Daily Life Immortal King, in the subtitles they are called that. If it is only for that reason XD. Sun Rong stared at Issei. Issei, how long? Sun Rong, yes, I think you will finally be ours. Gaia, and who does this hitch think she is? Sun Rong, who is she? Gaia, inform yourself, young lady, I am Issei-kun's wife. That made everyone's auras come out, scaring more than one. Miku, it's true, Issei-kun. Issei, if she is my third fiancée, I think you know the other two. At that, Issei's swords returned to their human form. Veronica, hello Hitches. Damaris, I think I'd like to break some of your bones. Lucia, damn Hitches. Damaris, look, the Holy Virgin speaks, ha ha ha. Lucia's red eye caused a storm of fire to erupt at the feet of Issei's three wives. They jumped just in time. Issei, that's new. Sun Rong, you think we were lazy in that damn place? No, my dear, we have practiced a lot just for this day, and after centuries you will be ours forever. Issei, me and my beauty, maybe it's because I'm handsome, I can't help it just comes out. The three of them gave him a tremendous blow to the head that left him with a bump on top of a bump. Issei, I better shut up. At that, the four of them avoided a slash from Sun Rong's sword. Sun Rong, how dare you flirt in my presence, you damn Hitches. Issei, I'll need reinforcement. At that, a portal opened and showed 13 hooded men. Issei, I present to you my best allies, my creations. The 13 guardians of the Infernox are represented by a constellation. At that point they take off their hoods, revealing 12 men. And to a woman who saw everything seriously. The woman blushed and jumped into Issei's arms. Why don't you visit me, love? Gaia, love? Issei, I didn't tell you, she's one of my wives. Her name is Urza Scarlet. Gaia, good. Issei, She is my best warrior and the one in charge of guiding the Infernox while I am not there. Urza, yes, and you have me very neglected and I think I deserve a reward. Urza began to touch Issei's chest with her finger and slowly lowered it, and when she was about to reach his pants he stopped her. Issei, we are in the middle of battle, then I will reward you blushes. Urza, I hope so. Sunrong, damn hitch, how dare you touch my stuff. Urza, yours? This daddy is mine. Sunrong went straight to cut off his head, but Urza with a black sword stopped the thrust. Urza weak. Issei, okay, each one goes against one, little brothers hide. Zeus, but we want to help. Issei, this is a personal matter, leave now. The gods felt so helpless in this situation, but they knew they were no match for these women, so each one went to their faction to take care of their civilians. Issei saw this with a smile, and looked straight at his enemies. Issei, they are my 12 warriors, each one guards a circle of the Infernox, each one is a knight, it won't be so easy this time. Veronica Damaris, you go against someone, I'll take care of Sunrong. Veronica and Damaris nodded, but to add fuel to the fire they gave Issei a kiss. The two separated, being followed by Akeno and Horikita. Ares Cheyenne vs. Yotsuba fight. Cheyenne, lady, surrender. Hurting an unarmed lady has no honor. Yotsuba just saw that she was very bored and wanted to go with her, Issei, and summoned her spiritual weapon. Yotsuba, I don't know your name, but I don't care about a dead person. I'm very fond of fire, I'm going to burn you. Cheyenne just shook her head and got into a battle stance. After all, Issei taught her that no matter the enemy, you should always take care of yourself. The first to attack was Yotsuba, who sent a direct cut to the jugular. Cheyenne jumped back to dodge, but I don't know how he expected to see that Yotsuba positioned herself behind him and was about to cut him in half. Yotsuba, die! At that, Yotsuba attacked Cheyenne with a large tornado of fire, raising a lot of smoke and dust. Yotsuba just snorted at this and began to walk where she felt Issei's power, but when the smoke disappeared, Cheyenne was seen with her cape somewhat burned. Cheyenne, this was my favorite, I was too confident. Yotsuba, how? I'm sure I gave you. Cheyenne, I used my glass wall technique and I didn't take any damage, although looks at her cape I think I got rusty. I'm sorry for underestimating her just for being a woman, now I'm going to go all out. Cheyenne began to release her Cosmo. This excited Yotsuba a lot, who summoned her sword again and did the same attack. Only when he was about to launch the fire tornado, Cheyenne stopped the sword with his index finger. Cheyenne, the same technique never works twice on a knight. Cheyenne, to Yotsuba's surprise, applied a little of her strength, and the sword broke. Yotsuba was surprised and jumped back, dodging a blow from Cheyenne. Yotsuba, you impress me, I hope you don't die now. Cheyenne didn't understand what she was referring to, but then Yotsuba began to emanate fire from her entire body, leaving Cheyenne in doubt. But on his back, Yotsuba, with her hair raised and giving off flames, hit him with tremendous force that sent him flying. Yotsuba appeared in the air and gave him an axe blow, making him crash against the ground and breaking his armor somewhat. Cheyenne started to get up and stared at Yotsuba. Cheyenne, I became confident again, at least his speed and strength increased 100 times. Cheyenne threw a flame of fire at him. Cheyenne created a crystal wall, but to his surprise it broke, causing some burns on Cheyenne's hands. Yotsuba, it was fun, now do me a favor and die. Yotsuba summoned her sword again and was about to cut Cheyenne's neck. But at the moment when the sword was about to cut the neck, with the contact of his skin the sword broke again. Yotsuba instinctively jumped back and simply disappeared from where she was. Yotsuba looked at Cheyenne and he slowly stood up while his armor gradually fragmented. Cheyenne, sorry for not telling you the truth, the armor is more than anything a kind of seal, it helps our body resist the large amount of Cosmo that we have, but on this occasion I will use all my power in an attack. Cheyenne began to raise her Cosmo. That excited Yotsuba a lot, who also began to gather all her power at the tip of her sword, and both launched their greatest attack. Yotsuba made a cut that created a wave of fire that began to change until it turned blue. And on Cheyenne's side he gathered his power and launched his stellar extinction. They both gave a war cry and an explosion was created. There was only a crater, and there was a figure standing and another on the ground. The dust dispersed, and Cheyenne was seen bleeding from his head and only in his pants, and looking straight at the sky, and a Yatsuba on the ground unconscious. Cheyenne, I did it, master. I fulfilled the mission for which I created myself. Cheyenne fell on his back with a smile. Taurus Haskard vs. Itsuki. Haskard began to run away from the main battle, and they arrived at a desolate field where Haskard only coldly watched Itsuki. Itsuki, they wouldn't attack a woman, right? Haskard, I am a true believer in gender equality, and you will have no advantage. I will treat you as I treat everyone else. Itsuki, dramatic, what a cruel man, cold, just joking. Itsuki summoned 2 daggers. Haskard, I hope you are a worthy rival. Itsuki moved closer to try and cut his jugular, but Haskard simply shouted, Big horn. That attack sent Itsuki flying. Itsuki stood up and touched his forehead, seeing a drop of blood. Itsuki, my face, I'll kill you, damn you. Itsuki attacked like crazy, but Haskard was unfazed by the situation, and each cut he made seemed to bounce off his skin. Haskard, give up, you are weak. Itsuki, weak? Weak me? Itsuki gave a louder shout to the sky than the previous one, creating a tornado of flowers, surprising Haskard with that magic. After that, Itsuki's clothes turned into flowery ones and he held his 2 daggers. Itsuki, I hope you hold on. Haskard just saw this, but by instinct he crouched, and there was Itsuki giving a diagonal cut. From that cut came a tremendous wave of hundreds that dethroned the floor. Itsuki, wow, you have some great reflexes. Despite being so big, you are very agile. Haskard, that attack could have killed me. Issei-sama was right, they are stronger than they appear. Itsuki, you won't talk? How boring. Itsuki began to attack again with a flurry of cuts. After that flurry of cuts, a Haskard could be seen with several wounds, but these were small. Haskard, is that all? Itsuki, coming soon in 3, 2, 1 now. At that, Haskard spat out blood, looking at his wounds, realizing that they were turning purple where she cut him. Haskard, poison? Itsuki, you're so clever, you'll be dead before you know it. I'll be here for you in a few minutes. Haskard, minutes? Ha 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 ha, I will not die like this. If I have to die, I will die in battle, being destroyed by a stronger being, not by simple tricks of bandits. Itsuki, how stubborn. Haskard slowly stood up, staring at Itsuki, and began to emanate his golden aura. Itsuki, do you fight? Well, I'll give it my all in one attack, what do you think? Itsuki concentrated all his power in both daggers and approached Haskard and made a cut in the form of X. Haskard responded with his last attack. Haskard, break up of the Titan. He gave a tremendous blow to Itsuki's daggers, causing everything around to break, causing an explosion, raising a lot of dust. When the dust came out, Itsuki was seen with his daggers well, but they broke and turned to dust. Itsuki fell on her back and was knocked out. On the other hand, Haskard remained standing, but his eyes were covered by his hair. If you look closely, he remained motionless with no signs of life, but with a smile on his face, and then his armor began to turn into golden dust. And Haskard's body began to disintegrate into dust particles. And so he gave his life to defeat an enemy who was far superior to him in power, but with his great, unbreakable will he managed to knock her out. Gemini Aspros vs. Ichika. Aspros, seeing Ichika face to face, landed a punch that sent her flying and headed in his direction. When he arrived at the place where he sent her flying, he saw Ichika sitting on a rock. Ichika, you took too long. Aspros, you are very resilient woman. Ichika, and you very serious. Aspros, you don't need to know my name after all, my lord will imprison her. Ichika, no, I'll kill you and keep what's mine. Aspros, let's see how that goes. Ichika summoned his spiritual weapon. Aspros knew that this battle would be difficult, and when Ichika tried to stab his sword, he used Galactic Explosion. Ichika couldn't react in time and ate the entire attack. When the attack ended, Ichika was seen with her arm bleeding. Ichika, damn. Aspros, This is a war, young lady, and in war you have to go all out. Ichika, you're right, I think I got too confident. At that Ichika subtly moved his hand and two rocks almost crushed Aspros. Aspros, Earth? So my theory is true. I feel like your other sisters already used fire and air, but your sister uses a variation of flowers. Ichika, you are a great sensor. Aspros, yes, but one of you has an unknown element towards me. Could you enlighten me? Ichika, I think you'll have to find out for yourself. Ichika began to attack from a distance with rocks and the closest things, but in reality all of that was a distraction so that she could awaken the true form of her spear and finish off Aspros. After half an hour of that battle, Aspros got fed up and destroyed all the rocks and went straight to Ichika to defeat her, but when he got closer, a wave of lava almost burned him. Aspros, derivatives? So some derivations of their element dominate. I was expecting metal but not lava. Ichika, I know, I'm very cool. After that Ichika's defense was almost perfect and Aspros couldn't get close at all. Amy burned every time she almost succeeded. Aspros knew he would get nowhere and began to accumulate his power in his ultimate attack and closed his eyes. Ichika realized this and tried to burn him, but a thin layer of Cosmo protected him, but it was for a short time. Ichika knew that he would get nowhere by trying, so he prepared to defend himself and piled up many rocks and a wall of lava, and when Aspros opened his eyes he shouted, "Imperial Satan." A bolt of lightning shot out from Aspros' fist, piercing through all of Ichika's defenses. When the attack ended, all of Ichika's defenses fell and Aspros saw that body and was about to kill her, but he knelt down. Aspros, it seems I spent too much Cosmo, you were saved this time. Aspros began to walk where his teacher and creator, Manigoldo of Cancer versus Nino. Manigoldo simply teleported both of them to a distant place. Nino, so you'll be my opponent, you look weak. Manigoldo, how conceited, I recommend that you don't trust me, you might get a big surprise. Nino did not respond and summoned his spiritual weapon. Manigoldo became alert and with a quick movement of his two fingers stopped a cut that was coming from his right. Nino, you are skilled. Manigoldo, I say the same thing. The two jumped apart and stared at each other. Manigoldo began to apply pressure with his soul burial technique. Nini managed to dodge the attack, saving herself from great damage. Manigoldo began to press harder with that attack, but in the end he knew that he would not get anywhere, and they exchanged blows and cuts again. Manigoldo, Infernal Waves. This took Nino by surprise, but he activated the final form of his spiritual weapon, miraculously saving himself. She stared at Manigoldo, knowing that this battle would be tough. Manigoldo, this battle will last for days if we continue like this. I offer to give everything in a single attack. Nino, interesting, I accept. Manigoldo accumulated his Cosmo, and Nino accumulated all his power at the tip of his now spear. Manigoldo accumulated the infernal waves at the tip of his fingers. Both collided with the blows and caused a huge explosion. After the smoke cleared, both of them could be seen on the ground, badly injured, both knocked out. Leo Regulus versus Miku. When Regulus saw Miku, he simply knew that in that place it would be very difficult to fight comfortably, and using his speed he kicked her up and with one blow he sent her flying. Then he said goodbye to Issei and went to Miku. When he arrived he saw Miku without any injuries. Regulus, I was hoping to hurt you a little. Miku, well, you expected wrong, I guess you are a creation. Regulus, my name is Regulus, Miss Miku. Miku, how do you know my name? Regulus, I am one of the few who has prepared himself both physically and mentally. I know something about you. Miku, then you know you'll die here. Regulus, I'm sorry to tell you that won't be possible. I have to stop her, but if that means giving my life, I will do it. Regulus quickly got into a battle stance, positioned himself behind Miku and delivered a blow that almost connected if it weren't for the whip that wrapped around his arm and stopped him dead. Regulus, a very rare weapon for a lady. Your spiritual weapon is a whip. Miku, I hope you survive this. Miku whipped the air, but to Regulus' surprise a tremendous current of air came out of it. Regulus, air element. Regulus jumped very high and managed to avoid that attack, but in the air he saw his back meeting Miku, but to his greatest surprise the long one was lit. Regulus couldn't dodge this time. His armor stopped the damage from the thorns but not the great impact. Regulus, 2 elements? Miku, are you surprised? It's normal after all. Of the 5 of us I'm the one with the most tricks. Regulus, I must say that your attack surprised me, but an attack does not work on a night twice. Miku just snorted but whipped the ground and 2 stone golems came out of it. Regulus, earth? I guess he has all 4. Regulus started attacking the golems but got bored and used lightning plasma. Both golems were shattered into pieces. Miku, it seems that you are not as weak as you seem. Miku began to whip the air, creating many air cuts, and Regulus knew he shouldn't get close. But at one point when he was about to connect a blow, a chain of water stopped him dead and threw him away. Miku, the air contains small water molecules and my control is greater than that of my sisters. Regulus stood up and saw how mountain-sized golems were created, and fed up with that he used a fire attack. Miku, wow, an elemental attack, but you are a lightning attack, how curious. Regulus, this will get nowhere if we attack like this. I hope you forgive me, but I have to end this. Miku gave a smile and began to create an attack of each element, and to surprise there were also sub-elements. Miku cast a giant spell, but Regulus was not far behind and made Zodiac exclamation. Both collided, tremendous attack. Miku was on the ground knocked out, and Regulus with his armor destroyed, very tired from the battle and full of wounds bathed in his own blood. Regulus looked at the sky and fainted on his back. Chapter 25. The battles continue. Virgo Asmita was still, but from one moment to the next he shot out of his place and gave Luz a scissor kick. Asmita was standing in front of Luz. Asmita, let me introduce myself. I am Asmita from Virgo. Light. I don't need to know the name of a dead person. Asmita, interesting. Luz, do you find your death interesting? Asmita, no, the interesting thing is to know how Issei-sama noticed you. That popped a vein in Luz's head and a tornado of fire came out of her red eye. Asmita, Abya. From Asmita's hand came a kind of shield, but this was a Buddhist mat. Asmita, you are very anxious, young lady. Light, Jodit. Light began. He made many spells, but Asmita got into the lotus position and started meditating, and every attack was useless. Luz was getting desperate, and with her sky blue eye she sent a torrent of water. Asmita is unfazed by any attack from Light. He knew that this fight would be useless since he was one of the most powerful, and if she took out her sacred treasure, she would spend at most 82% of her power. He knew that this would not be beneficial. Asmita, it's time to end this. Luz was about to summon her sacred treasure, but out of nowhere she appeared in a room with a Buddha statue. Asmita, it's time for you to sleep. Asmita appeared behind Luz. She did not move. Luz flew into the sky and thousands of cuts appeared on her body, and she fainted. Asmita, I think I should help someone who had a bad time. At that, Asmita felt the cosmos of Haskard extinguish itself. She released a small tear that came down from her right eye and began to walk where she felt there was more power. Libra Doko vs. Chisato. Doko saw how a woman was using a type of camouflage and tried to inject something into Issei. Doko reacted quickly and with 2 fingers stopped the action. Issei, thanks Doko, I'll take care of her please. Doko nodded, and Chisato was a little more analytical and knew he was strong, but she didn't wait that long as Doko sent her flying with a scissors kick. Doko quickly went to the place of impact and saw Chisato sitting on a rock. Chisato, you surprised me. Doko, my name is Doko from Libra. Chisato, my name is Chisato Asegawa. Doko, Chisato? I don't know her. Chisato, I see that he didn't tell you about me, and if it were him he wouldn't do it either. Do you want to hear or do you want to fight head-on? Doko, I want to know who I'm going to fight. Chisato, well then. Chisato narrates. Issei's old-school teacher had resigned and I was assigned as a substitute teacher. I met Issei, a young man that everyone spoke ill of, and not only that, it seemed that everyone had some kind of grudge against him. I didn't pay attention to that subject. One day I spoke to him, and he told me what had happened with the previous teacher. I didn't believe him at first, but then little by little the pieces began to fit together. We became very good friends until I met his brother. He pretended to be an example to follow, but too late I realized that it was a simple trick. I thought that everything Issei told me was a lie, and I began to doubt him until Matthias showed me proof of his innocence. Like a complete fool, I believed him. From that day on I stopped talking to him, and I was very strict with him. Apparently I became someone else. He never reproached me or anything. He simply walked away from me, and I started hanging out with Matthias, but little by little I realized his true nature. But when I realized it was too late, I had already moved too far away from him, and I started to follow him. Someone else was doing the same thing, but his presence was hidden very well. But I was undetectable. I saw that he and his mother were in a relationship. She took advantage of the fact that we left him very hurt, and she began to use him. Every time I wanted to talk to him, he simply ignored me. The damage was already done, but little by little I began to fall into madness, knowing what he suffers and not being able to do anything. My mind every day reminded me of every word and blow I gave him for any stupid thing. I couldn't sleep at night. Every time I slept I saw how he spoke to me, and we were happy, and in the end we got married, but everything changes and I'm in front of him, and there was his stupid mother hugging him. He's saying goodbye to me and despising me. Then I fall into an endless abyss and wake up. Then I started to see him in my house walking down the halls, and I always chased him, but I lost him. One day I cut myself. Yes, it may be stupid, but it was my only way to calm my pain, feeling an even stronger pain, until when I confronted him and told him the truth about his mother, but he left, and he discovered the truth the hard way, I suppose. I knew that I would enter the special academy. I left that school to enter the academy because I knew that I would be fired in a few days, that's all. End of narration. Chisato, it's good to vent to someone. I kept that to myself for millennia. Doko, I'm not one to judge, but if you regret it, you should tell him. Over. Chisato, it's not that easy. I'm afraid he'll reject me. Doko extended his hand to her. Doko, I will support you. Chisato was about to shake his hand, but his hair suddenly changed color, and he gave a chilling smile. Chisato, seriously, that weakling was going to negotiate with someone like you. Doko jumped back, dodging a power cut. Doko, what happened? Chisato, I'm the other one. Do you really think my Issei would hate us for something as cheesy as what she told you? She created her own reality to ease her pain, and that's how I was born. I'm the real one, and she's a simple illusion, someone who believes that everything has a solution? Doko, so a split personality. So is that the truth or just a fantasy? Chisato, let's say it's the truth. Well, just the beginning. Then imagine it 1,000 times worse than what my weak counterpart told you and tell me we start, or do you want to live? Doko, I think I must find out the truth by force. Chisato gave a smile and started throwing many energy slashes, and Doko simply dodged everything, but a slash came hidden behind another and cut off a lock of his hair. Doko, impressive. Chisato, you're the first one to survive that attack. I killed a lot of hitches with that little attack. Doko, that makes me want to know more about the truth. Chisato began to launch more attacks, and Doko was only limited to dodging, but from one moment to another Chisato launched approximately 100 energy cuts at him. Doko, let's see if I'm not rusty. The 100 dragons of Rosen. Each dragon diverted a power cut. Chisato, interesting. Doko, I say the same thing. Chisato created an energy sword in both of his hands and began a change of cuts. Chisato gave slash after slash, and Doko could only dodge as he didn't see any weak points at the moment, as Chisato covered every blind spot, but in every attack there was a fraction of a second where he could attack. Chisato made an upward cut, and Doko left a blind spot that was taken advantage of by Chisato, who attacked quickly and hoped he only managed to graze Doko's cheek, but he smiled. Doko, sometimes leaving a blind spot makes people overconfident. Chisato failed to regain her posture and received a blow to her face that ended up breaking her glasses and leaving some blood on her nose. Chisato, very clever. Doko, thank you? When he finished saying that phrase, Doko instinctively crouched down, watching as an energy sword cut where his head had previously been. Chisato, I thought he was going to kill you. Doko, that speed is higher than mine. Chisato, this time I won't fail. Chisato wanted to finish quickly, but suddenly Doko took off his armor and a tiger tattoo appeared on his back. Doko, you are the first to force me to use this. Our armor is a container. What do you think of a last attack, or we will be here for about 100 days? Chisato, I find it interesting. Doko began to accumulate his mana and Chisato gathered all her mana in her right hand. They both went to attack. Soshio went straight to attack just like Chisato, but he is in a sneaky movement. He used his camouflage and created a clone that received the attack and cut Doko's back, but he did not give up despite being injured. He gave a war cry and gave his last blow to Chisato. Chisato was knocked out and Doko fainted, and at that moment Asmita appeared and took both bodies.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.